It's the 28th of September 2020. I'm Ryan, the GM, and here are some players.
What up? I'm Alex. I'm playing Weird, the android mechanic / tank, and I am here in support of the Pro Bear lobby.
Word to my homies, and hello. I am Colin, and I am very white, egregiously white, really. If we're honest, like on the whiteometer, pretty high. And yeah, so I am Colin. I will be playing Lyco Quint, who is your resident sneaky, spooky, detective, space ghost. He's not a ghost. He's
Yeah,
He's a Barai.
you could be a ghost if you wanted to be.
Sort of like a zombie, but not.
The ghost escaped.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I am indeed Callum.
Yes.
And I will attempt to play Zig, the Burning Sun, the mystical space rat, who has been at the sun occasionally.
A few times.
Known to be there now and again.
So, what is the sun?
Well,
Communism.
I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you, the sun it's not only just this big fiery thing that heats up the solar system, and acts as like a natural light. No. It's not just that. It's
Okay.
more than that. It's more, if you imagine like a Jaffa cake, right? And you decide to eat the Jaffa cake. Now the Jaffa cake is gone after you've eaten it. It's inside you, and it's
True.
thing. The sun is like that, but it doesn't go away. It's inside you. You've taken the bite, you've eaten the sun, but it's still there and it's still inside you. It's part of everything. It flows like a.
So
a
you say
warm
we don't pay VAT on the sun?
We do not pay tax on the sun. No.
Okay, good.
There was a big case about it.
Don't tell the Aztecs.
They've been overpaying for years.
Oh dear.
I can't even remember what I have said, and
R.I.P.
but
to the Triple Alliance.
yes, hi, I'm Callum. I'm playing Zig. There you go.
Thank you. Well, there is
Lay it
information I didn't know I needed. Sure. What did you remember from last time? I guess is the next question. Do we need the sun?
Yeah.
Do we have an alternative, or is it just a binary question, yes or no?
Just open-ended.
I think
Yeah.
for the moment, yes, we need the sun.
Like spiritually or physically.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think validly both. I feel like
Yeah.
the optimism spiritually it brings
Yeah.
just by having a nice sunny day is crazy good.
Yeah, but what about a nice wintry evening by the fire?
But you wouldn't get that. You would just have permanent, desolate death planet without the sun's.
I mean, right now that sounds good too.
I'm not gonna lie, right? Looking at 2020, like fair, right? But
2020. I'm looking at you. I
Yeah.
can see you. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm watching you.
but like given maybe more pleasant times that I'm sure existed before, I can't
I
quite
have not
think
seen
of
that as an adult.
What are these pleasant times?
As someone who has survived adulthood longer than you so far, don't.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. Don't do it. Less of it, in fact.
Don't get open inside.
Welcome back.
Hi.
But yeah, it's been. I don't know. What's your hot take on is the sun required? Yes or no, Colin?
Nothing is required.
There you go. See, there's your
Yeah.
answer. That's valid. Okay, so what happened last time? More accurately.
I crit failed my culture, so I don't know.
That's okay though. Your actual history check's fine though. Yes, I weirdly rolled that for you on your other character sheet.
Oh, thank you. Well, they have
Welcome.
history in the system. I thought everything was culture.
Well,
Right,
we did more investigation.
you did.
It was maybe not the most efficient, but we got some stuff that we couldn't really make heads or tails of, so we sent it to Geert.
And
Um,
I analysed it.
I think the answer was basically yes. These people are dead.
Yes. Quite dead.
But there were some anomalous readings, and apparently, quite presumptuously, I'll be honest with you, Shakos decided to scan Lyko also while he was sat next to her, or sat in the bed rather. And apparently, some of the anomalous brain chemistry was present in one of the corpses. Sorry, that was present in one of the corpses was also present in Lyko, which caused them to be a little bit spooked. What else happened? The captain met the Mogesh, yes?
Yep.
Where the
I remember that
Mogesh cast narratively excused
Yes, he did.
a high level spell which can remove people for several sessions.
Same level as Power Word Gun as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is the level yes.
Yeah.
So
Can they?
yeah,
Yes.
we're just waiting to see how that resolves itself, when and if it resolves itself. So Zig went away, but now he has managed to
Bless you.
Oh, bless you.
pass his sneeze save and thereby escape the narrative space of excusement and is returned.
Yes. I am not on a giant bear.
No, sadly not.
He's not,
Not yet.
Not for bear.
Probert.
Or not a bear.
Bear.
I love the amount of in-jokes already and just that opening, like, that's crazy good. But yes, that is, there was a deciphering of the datapad at the start as well. He's got like a whole bunch of info
Yes.
from the data
Yes,
pad.
that arrived at the end of the previous one, and then we went through it at that.
Yeah, and it kind of helped like click some of the pieces together, which was deemed somewhat convenient in some places, I think, by the suspicious among you. And yet it raised some other questions as well, it seemed. But yes, I think that's pretty much where we left. It was a Zig and Captain going off to get all the parts needed for Operation Get These Ships back up and running. Because the Kivalaria has a plan to get it up and running, but then we're going to need to look over the Azure Flare as it's been chucked across the universe a little bit. So, yeah, we'll sort that out too at some point, most likely. As for...
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I assume. As for goals, I see that Zora has a goal in the personal lineup saying something to Mogesh. So that,
True.
like,
Very, very true.
yup. We've then got for Lyko, investigate potential Barai connection _stew.
Whose name correctly you predicted I would not remember, and it didn't.
Yeah. And did I even write his name down? Let's have a look.
Somewhere.
I definitely don't think I have it on my actual notes. Of course I wouldn't. Why would I write his name down? It was some bizarre thing. It'll be in the chat somewhere though. I think it'll be in the Roll20 chat somewhere. There we go. I'll repost this. Oh, that's the wrong button. That's the inspect button. The worst button to misclick. Paste. There we go. We're bam. That was the guy's name. Which is Angrid's Stuhoff.
Good Nordic name.
Yeah. Crewman Stew. To his friends.
Human crew.
Yeah, sure. Stubbly-doo.
Oh man!
And,
Stigging me, baby.
and then, yeah. Besides
As they
that,
say in Nordic.
as nobody says.
They don't.
And
I apologise to all our listeners.
to all our listener. And yeah. Besides that though, so we had that. Yep, there were some bizarrities with all of that. Running through the goals. Crimmage 2. We've got Weird has one here that I see Alex is in just now, which is establish cybernetics business, the limbs Zoras, the body hole, bone, brain and beyond. It's probably my favourite. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like Limzaris because it sounds like Lazarus.
But then
Yeah.
you could just, when you rebrand in years to come for tax reasons, you could be called B3, like the little 3 above it, or B cubed. And I feel like that's the way the world would go. So
You want to be here or be cubed.
Yeah. I like that you said it as Lyco. It was very much
I
a
just
Lyco.
did, no, to be fair, I just did a random American accent, which is basically how Lyco speaks.
And
Just
Zig's personal
just
goal. Good to
accent.
see. Good to see. Yep. Nice
Yep.
question mark. Yep. Strong.
It's definitely, you know, brief to the point.
Unlikely, but yep. Right, and general goals. We've got secure the key Valarian tail crew corpses, delete as possible. Delete as possible.
Delete as possible.
as-
Yeah,
as
I mean,
necessary?
in terms of- no,
Um,
I meant based on like which are or are not possible.
and take to relative safety. Salvage the key Valari, fix the Azure Flare, determine how involved complicit Babak was, and reintegrate with the crew. And bring the crew up to date. And that's our general goals. Those will state they are. And I think we'll open the game somehow now. Also, hello, Adrian. Hello.
Hello.
We'll open the game with Zig, I guess, docking the shuttle from the final hour with the key Valari, with I guess all the spare parts that are now relevant that Zig brought. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's everybody else up to on the
Success.
key Valari?
Wow.
I was fixing stuff.
Yeah, like you were pretty much in like waiting to delegation mode, I think.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was
Um,
waiting for Alice to come on board so that she can tell Escape what to do.
Yeah, and I feel like Alice is probably on board now. She was probably on board before Zig got back, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. So, yeah, maybe we should leave. Maybe the way things should be is maybe Alice should have waited on Zig getting back, and maybe Zora could have just had Finn pilot the final hour shuttle. Maybe we should just have one shuttle at the Key Valari, being the Azure Flares shuttle.
That works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that gives Nico a shuttle if he needs it, instead of just having to move the final hour in our daisy chain. So we'll do that instead. So you and Alice could have a nice wee fly back to this.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah. Did you have anything to chat to Alice about actually on the way over?
Ooh.
Yeah, right. Because you've got some actual alone time,
Probably.
right?
I'm just trying to think of what that is.
Mhm.
Did you see that ludicrous performance last night?
What was Wenger thinking?
That sports game, huh?
Yeah. Ooh.
Oof.
What were they trying to do? Walk it in? Anyway, so you're on a shuttle. You're with Alice. Who's flying? That's a better question. You or her?
Shia LaBeouf.
I mean,
I trust him.
I think Zig would, having been used to be doing everything himself for
Mhm,
a year, would
yeah.
like automatically just go to fly.
Okay.
Whether or not Alice wants to.
No, I think she should let you. This is like the Azure Flare isn't hers, so
Yeah, cool.
yeah. Like I think it was the final hour shuttle. She'd maybe care more about it, but yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, he's definitely flying. Then. And he'd just look at Alice and be like, "Oh, how's things been? Has it been okay in my absence?"
Things. She looks at you
You know.
blankly.
Is everyone okay? Anyone weird?
At least one of us is.
You chuckle.
She just gives you like a weird look where she raises an eyebrow.
I think Zig would I can't think exactly what he would say, but he would be like kind of trying to just make it like idle chat, to try and gauge like how much like personality change there might be with like Alice, if there's anything weird or different. You can discern.
Don't know. Like
Through idle chat.
depends if you think she's changed, right? Like, what's your what's Callum's thoughts behind this? Like, talk me through your. Because I mean, it could be a role, but it depends what you're trying to learn, right?
Yeah, I think it's in Zig's mind. He wants to kind of know the full extent of. I don't want to say the damage
I was gonna say because it's only been a couple of
to
days
his
since.
reality.
Yeah, like I get like for her it's
But,
been a couple of days, but for you obviously it's been a lot longer, and obviously you are aware there's a lot more things that may have been altered.
Yeah. So I think he'd be trying to kind of. I guess, kind of like work out if there was any sort of because if there's like any changes in Alice, like personality wise, there might be like more deep, further down changes within the crew itself, where his like maybe he like might not have the relationships that he had, the same
Well,
relationships he had with.
Why don't you
There's
try
your-
like sense motive, right? And we'll have that based on your like random questioning, right? Like random statements you're saying to her, like for your idle chat.
Bully.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like same old Alice, to be honest.
Cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great role, but that's fine.
Yeah, like nothing to like. She's as quirky as she's always been. Right?
Yeah.
Always
think
kind of
maybe
quite
over the
positive
course-
in general, right? As she always has been.
Yeah, I think over the course of the kind of like just random chats, then I think he'd like visibly get like more and more relaxed as it went on. As kind of can't notice any discernible like differences or anything like that.
And she has no actual clue that you're being weird as shit either, so I wouldn't worry about
Oh, good.
it. Like
Yeah.
Alice noticing things, not a thing. Like, like she's probably just been talking about what she did for that week she was alone in the ship. That's obviously like being a lifetime for her, since it's the first time she's kind of really been without company. It wasn't just Finn, you know. So, yeah. So I think she's been talking about like random things she did, like leading up to the part where she thought it'd be hilarious if she put the pillow up her top, you know, pretending to be pregnant. So
Brilliant. Yeah.
mostly just small talk that way, I think, for her.
Yeah, I think he would, like again, like more just small talk stuff. I don't think he would have any sort of
Like no major revelations to
pressing.
reveal to her or anything, no.
I met your creator. No, nothing like that.
And,
I am your creator.
I mean, arguably, somebody had to program her initially, right? So
Yeah,
there's that.
it'd be my quest all along.
Maybe it's Alice's personal quest to go find her creator, right? Let's just leave her character development alone, thank you very much. So, yeah, I like that. If there's nothing else like specific you want to say to her, like in private in any way, then yeah, I think we can just have you dock, and then, you know, I think you hear on the comms, as soon as they've docked, you hear the clunk go through all the ship's hull, obviously as the noise like ricochets through the place, and you just hear Alice over comms be like, "Permission to come aboard." Too late. I'm on board.
I would respond
Yeah.
as the new self-proclaimed captain of the Kivalari.
I think I like the scene of you and Chakos are in the same room and look at each other when that comes over comms, and then
Yeah, okay. I know. I'm just immediately gonna respond. I'll look at her. I'll just immediately respond.
I mean, so Alice has already responded, right? Like, even if it's her talking over you on the comms, it's just too late, on board.
Welcome, Alice.
Thank you, Lyko. You can't see me now, but I'm finger gunning.
Can confirm.
Thank. That's. I'm doing a thumbs up. He does a thumbs up after having said it.
Yeah.
To make it more authentic.
Chakos just shakes her head and starts staring at the medical data she doesn't understand. Yup.
Yeah. Print out, and I will disconnect from comms, or at least that conversation, and probably return to poring over medical data. In equal incomprehension.
Yep. Right, so I think Isabel stares for a bit at like the back of your head, maybe, Lyko, until maybe you notice her, or if you don't, she'll then like go, So I'll go get Alice then. And then
Yeah. Weird was. I don't know what he was doing, but he wanted Alice or something, I think.
try not to, you know, she like nods towards Shakov's when she says that.
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
And then Isabel leaves, and then I think Shakov's just, while staring at the data pad, flicking through data, she's like, what did she mean by that?
Oh,
You still got a thing going?
no. No, she meant not to get you worked up because you're jumpy. Which is a perfectly understandable reaction. And I'm not saying don't be jumpy.
I think you can tell she was immediately about to get defensive at that, but obviously realised maybe that's also evidence towards the case.
It's fine. I understand things have not gone particularly well. It's cool. She's just concerned that some of my questions earlier weren't helping.
So she cares about people you care about, eh? She just gives you a look, and like a knowing look.
I just look right back at her.
And she kind of goes back to like pouring through the data she obviously cannot understand. It's mostly just swiping it up until it stops swiping.
Anyway, you scanned me.
Oh yeah, do you mind if I scan you? Look at the results, she says very flatly.
I probably look slightly petulant, and yeah, they mean nothing to me.
And like a moment passes, she goes, "Oh, I didn't even realise. Sorry, is that actually harmful to you now? Like, sorry." And like she gets quite like worked up at the fact that maybe that's actually painful for you now because you're different now.
Oh, it's you don't scan people.
Scan people all the time.
I mean, yeah, if you need to for the job or if like they're hurt. But I was just
You look pretty hurt. She looks you up and down.
I got the I think I got pretty beat up, but I'm fine. It's like Diddy's magic, I guess.
I think she just rolls her eyes at that and kind of like nods, right? That kind of, oh yeah, of course. Like, you know, because that makes sense. Like, people have magic in this world. So she's like, yeah, convenient, you know. As somebody without magic like
Anyway.
Shakos, you know, that's convenient.
The results you're saying they're the same, or there's something that's. I mean, what are we looking at?
And she brings up like the two results side by side, and it's just like a wave pattern, and she's pointing at them both. It's like, I mean, those look identical.
Hey, sure, but he's
Do you think it's because he's dead?
gone.
And she kind of like nods, and she's like, yeah, but something messed with his brain, Lyko. Something's messed with your brain. She just
those
looks at you
things are
suspiciously.
They tried to. Who was it standing with me? It was the captain, wasn't it? They
Probably.
tried to. Sorry.
I said probably the captain.
Yeah, but I believe it was. They tried to. Me and Zara encountered them, and they tried to do something. I don't know. Felt weird, and then it just kind of looked confused, and then we kind of opened fire on them. They were definitely not friendly because whatever they tried to do didn't feel good. Maybe they did something to your colleague here.
She kind of elbows you a bit, right? Like in the arm. And she goes, grades though. That's,
Exciting?
I mean, I'm gutted I missed them, to be honest.
They're elusive like that. I don't know. I may be just being paranoid, but it just seems to me like I would believe.
She smiles at that, right? Like, she smiles at that when you say that, and she kind of says to you, she's like, that's how I know that you're back to your old self, Lyko, when you're acting paranoid. It just nods at you.
I like to think I'm pretty much always. Um. Hmm. This is interesting to you though, because if it's not what the Greys did to him, and I don't think whatever the Greys did to him, let's say they did. Let's say something happened to him. They did something to his mind. I think we can probably guess whatever it was screwed him up pretty bad, right? I mean, if that's what caused this, then
You can see her like nodding, like in
it was, yeah.
deep
But
thought.
what they tried me, yeah, felt weird. I could tell they were trying to do something on me. I mean, I've felt psychic effects before. I know when someone's trying to put the whammy on me, but yeah, just felt weird, and they clearly expected something to happen and it didn't. So I don't think it worked. So why would my brain chemistry be showing the same abnormalities?
She kind of like shakes her head like a bit of like a pouted lip as if she's trying to think, you know? And she's like, I honestly don't know.
Unless it's not the psychic interference, unless the brain abnormalities are actually, you know, part of
Maybe it means you're immune.
him. Maybe. How well did you know this guy?
Like, well enough to share a bunk with him. She winks at you.
Don't need to know that much. Is, is it possible he could have been just sort of like tilting my head slightly and looking at her so as not to have to see it,
Mm-hmm.
raising the eyebrows slightly? You know,
And she just looks at you, like wide-eyed. Like, oh.
you're gonna make me say it, aren't you? Is it
She nods.
possible he could have been like me?
Now, this is Ryan doing a timeout here, because I'm resisting the urge to say, what an asshole. But I don't know if she even
Ooh,
thinks
wow,
that of you. Like, I don't think she thinks that of you, because, like, you know, you've got her ass out of the fire a few times, quite frankly. But I just felt the need to checkpoint that little moment of RP dilemma I had there. But like, that's a funny thing to say, but it's not really appropriate, sadly. Yeah, and you're like, you know, like me, and she looks at you. She's like, what, unreliable? And then she elbows you again, playfully.
You know what I meant.
She goes, well, his eyes don't do the thing your eyes do. And
I kind of look away from her for a second.
yeah, and then like she's like, and he doesn't. No, I don't think he's like you. And then maybe there's like an awkward moment, right? Like maybe like a 30 seconds of like nothing. And then I think she just hugs you. Like even if you're like not looking at her, she's like her spacesuit over your spacesuit just hugs. She just kind of holds on until you acknowledge it.
Yeah, I sort of like pat her arm. Like, yeah, no, it's okay.
She goes, no, it's not, Lyko. You came for me again. I really appreciate that. And, like, there's a proper like genuine tone to that, right? Like it's.
Look, I can't take credit for that. I came for the ship.
Don't ruin the
Didn't know
moment.
who was on it.
She's hugging you.
Hey, do you think it's weird he didn't tell me you were on?
Who, Babak? No.
Yeah.
She kind of like shakes her head a bit. Doesn't
Procedure, I know.
like the fact that we like each other is irrelevant to him, right? He knew you'd get the job done regardless, because you know you're good at your job, and the fact that I'm here is just a detail. I mean, you may have been less cautious if you'd known I was here. I don't know.
Sure.
She shrugs. She's like, Babak's by the book usually.
Yeah, my first instinct was just to, you know, well, yeah, why would he tell me? He wouldn't normally. But then it occurred to me, I am still deputized, but you know, I'm not really in the uniform anymore. So he, considering the circumstances he met me under, I was part of, Zora's crew, and it's like, would he treat me as steward, or would he treat me as an outsider?
The fact that you're here, he's treated you like a steward. You're a known entity in a system of new unknowns after Absalom.
Yeah.
It's like scary place out there now, Lyco. Like ships don't know where they're going. You can't jump normally. You have to recalculate everything. If you forget that, if your systems auto-update to the Starstone, we've probably lost hundreds of ships out by Octurne already before people realised.
Yeah. I know, it's bad.
I think she sits in the bed this time and she sits the kind of datapad thing down and she's like, I don't even want to think about how many people have probably died because of that. Never mind Absalom going. But I mean, since. And she kind of just sits there kind of like in a mope.
It's bad.
She kind of
I want to know something about this guy, though. And I don't mean any offense to your friend Stu, was it?
Yeah. Ingrid's. She kind of just looks at him.
Do you think you would have... Imagine you didn't see anything that might indicate to you that someone had interfered with him mentally, right? Imagine you had no reason to believe that had happened. Imagine we hadn't seen the Greys. And I told you I found them like this, seemingly self-inflicted. Would you believe it?
She kind of just looks at him again. Looks up at you. I think you know the answer to that, Lyco. Where we're trained to be skeptical of most things. Find answers. Ones that make sense.
You wouldn't assume, but you would believe it if the evidence checked out.
Like right now, the fact that you're telling me Greys were on board is good enough for me, but I didn't see them. There's no evidence of them
Sure.
behind, except if they put the mind whammy on this guy and they did it to you. How am I supposed to know if this is a piece of evidence?
Yeah.
She kind of looks at your
I
gun
know.
that you're holding, or like it's in your holster or whatever, and she looks up at you. She kind of like shrugs. She's like, let's just say I'll be keeping an eye on you for your own safety.
Huh.
She smiles, but like it's a completely hollow smile, right? Like she's like, this is a shit situation smile, you know?
Yeah.
She kind of shrugs.
I think I'm alright. I just, the situation in here has got me. I can think, it's not like it doesn't make sense. Actually, it's, if anything, it makes too much sense. I can make it work from 100 different directions, and I don't like that, because if every answer is completely plausible, then we can't eliminate any answer.
She kind of nods. It's assuming any of
So
them
I'm
are plausible, ultimately.
stuck here thinking, well, I don't know who is behind this, because yeah, it's something's not right. Something
She looks
I've
at you
missed.
and she switches her comms to like to be secured, right? Even if they were just personal before, it's not like secured.
Yeah.
And she says to you,
I caught my head slightly at that.
yeah, and she just says, what's the simplest, most straightforward answer to all this, do you think? Been trying to work that out. Even if it's distasteful.
Simplest answer. Documents were written in Vesk.
Vesk case. Vesk writing. Vesk borders, even if they were friendlies. It's a very easy way to gain access to the ship, or at least excuse access to the ship.
It does seem odd that the Vesk happened to intervene in this ship's case, considering it was supposed to be surveilling them. Although, from the sound of it, it was different Vesk than the specific ones it was supposed to surveil. But if it's the Vesk, if it's just the Vesk, why did he do it so indirectly, such an unreliable way? They would have to know in advance that the espionage ship, the Scout, would be posing as a rescue vessel, and they would have to know that we would be willing to pick up a lost and unusual ship in order to maintain that ruse. Which, okay, fair enough.
She kind of nods because
It's a reasonable guess.
us being out here trying to work out the goings on behind Mogesh and Tectolanis, she kind of shrugs at the name. She says, "It's not unreasonable to think that we would be out here looking into that. We are,
True.
I mean, we are the police, after all." She kind of like says that like as like how meaningless that seems to matter at the moment. He goes, but actually, being out in this situation, like the Vesk could have known any of this information.
Yeah. They would have to gather some of it from the inside, though. Just guessing all of this wouldn't work. And if this was engineered, then it was engineered carefully.
She stands up and then immediately just like sits back down on like the opposite bed, just without thinking, you know. And then she's like, "The Vesk shared a facility with us on Versus, but this alliance wasn't exactly public until, well, it's not really public now, I guess." She's kind of like trying to piece it together, and she says, "The Key Valeria's mission wouldn't have been put in place before Smogesh departed Versus, which means it's unlikely he would be informed of that if there were someone on the inside that is Vesk. If the Vesk have a steward on payroll, they may have learned about it after the fact, but Babak doesn't trust just anyone."
Group that turned up here, the captain said, they weren't the Mogesh's people.
She just looks at you and raises an eyebrow.
They were the ones that's, well, my understanding, the captain hasn't talked about it entirely, but I believe they work for the same individual that sent Zora after the Mogesh.
What do you mean after him?
Well, they seem to believe that the Mogesh's actions are going to lead to war with the Pact Worlds again, and that is not affordable at this time.
Will the Vesk believe this?
Or at least some of them do. But the Mogesh is powerful enough in the Pact Worlds that if he wanted to restart the war, there's really not much that could stop him.
Kind of like nods. That's what rumours in the stewards would agree with. The fact that the Vesk were here in any number was disconcerting. But
She had Zora on Mogesh, and Babak had me. Or he wanted to, but then circumstances got in the way. But I was supposed to be spying on Mogesh. Then I got whisked off road by Isabel over there, and we went to try and face a dragon, but that didn't go very well.
she kind of like cocks her head to the side and then like kind of like shakes that thought out of her head like that's way off topic. Let's not talk about that yet. Like definitely there's a put a pin in it look. She's like, okay. So, simplest thing is the Vesk are behind it, right? She looks at you as if, please tell me that's the answer.
Simplest explanation. As far as I can tell, the one with fewest working parts. What was that Vesk group called again?
Oh, the Obsidian Star?
Obsidian Star.
Yeah.
Right. Not the Vesk in general, but specifically the Obsidian Star. Who?
She looks at you like with a bit kind of wide eyes. Zora's old unit.
Yeah.
She narrows her eyes, obviously, and then
I understand your concern.
she puts her hand up and she's like, "I know. Our captain's been more packed worlds than MD I can imagine."
I don't like to. I don't like to presume because I know that sometimes your fondness for people blinds you to the reality of their nature, but I think Sora has more or less lived that life and wants no part of it, if possible. I think he'd like to just keep doing the job, get enough money to pay other people to do the job. I think he's gone native, you know?
She kind of like nods. She goes, "Surveillance on Zora would confirm that." She kind of just nods to you.
Your surveillance is pretty good then, because I hadn't noticed it.
And she kind of like nods because the Obsidian Star aren't the only secret service in play here.
Sure. What is the intel in me then?
That's assuming there is intel in you. She just elbows you again, playfully.
Okay, you be coy.
I think with that, we maybe fade away from that scene, and we go to whatever Weird's up to.
He is reading off of a datapad all of the tasks that he wants Alice to ask Isabel to do.
Yeah, and I think like we'll have the scene where like Isabel like leads Alice into the engine room, like climbing up the ladders. And she goes, "Well, here she is." She like presents her like over dramatically,
Thank you, Isabel.
and Alice just kind of climbs up and just waves, like awkwardly, I think, to you.
Hi, Alice. You can go now, Isabel. We've got some work to be doing.
Isabel just looks, laughs, and then shakes her head and just like slides down the ladder. Doesn't say anything, just that level of exit.
Yep.
Yep.
Then I work through. Okay, Alice, this is the situation. All of this stuff is broken. Pointing through a list.
She kind of nods. Lots of broken things in this room. Yes.
Yes.
Nods.
Like you to work with Isabel.
Right.
So we start getting them fixed, please.
Okay.
Reclaim any spares that we need from the shuttles without breaking them.
Okay. I brought parts.
Good.
She kind of nods. The Azure flare is broken.
What did you do to it?
Oh no. No. This one's on you. You had it last.
How did I break it?
Well, you should be at the sun.
Hmm?
This isn't the sun.
No, that doesn't make the ship broken.
But it doesn't mean it's not broken.
This just seems like a piloting issue.
Okay. That one's yours. She just like pats your arm, and then when she realizes she's patting your arm, like pulls her hand away.
I'm not the pilot.
But you fix things, right? You still fix things?
Not pilots.
She kind of like screws her face up a bit. Because obviously, maybe in her mind, she's like, well, that isn't always true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she just kind of like doesn't say anything, just has that maybe internal dialogue to herself.
So, is it flyable?
What?
Here's your flare.
The azure flare will not go into drift. She kind of like nods, because that is what the Queen said.
So she'll be traveling slowly from now on.
Yes. Are we calling her the Queen? Is that what... How do we... Can I be a queen?
If you find yourself a queendom, yes.
Okay. She kind of like... She's lost in thought at that idea for a second, because she has no idea where to start with that. She goes, right. What's wrong with this ship?
A great many things.
Okay.
I'm not
Give me
um,
some.
Some of the doors are broken thanks to our dear captain.
That makes
The
sense.
zombies did a number. I don't know what the Greys were up to.
Okay.
Um,
She kind of nods.
I'm gonna pass her the list.
I think I've met a Grey.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was before I was, and she like knocks on like her hip twice. Tangible.
Were you holding Greys at the facility at basketball?
No, I wasn't holding much on the account of being a hologram. But
But you as a space station entity.
yeah, I've lost weight since then though. You noticed, yeah? And she laughs, like really awkwardly. And then just stares at you awkwardly.
It's just an awkward, just
It's just
slow blinking.
yeah. Yeah. Two awkward androids. Yeah. And she's like, because I mean, keep in mind, like, she's like, I don't know who this person is. I need to relearn who this is. And you're like, Alice, please help deal with Isabel. She goes, no, I think they were on the station though, but I don't think anybody else noticed.
Well, that's not concerning. Do you know what they were up to?
Looking at stuff. You know? Also, hello Scott.
Looking at stuff.
Yeah,
Not
like,
tampering with anything?
well, my systems detected people coming on board. And then they didn't. And this was during, when she air quotes, night time. Because obviously nighttime on the space stations are kind of irrelevant. And she goes, so most people were asleep. But then my sensor logs didn't show them after they were there. And I was awake because I was the space station. So I was looking, making sure everything was okay.
Of course.
And there were extra people, but they weren't people. And then they weren't, there,
Greys are people.
but they were there. She waves her hand at that comment. She goes, in the abstract, and yeah, I don't really feel like I learned much about my experience with them. I know
I
it's
feel like that can be said about many experiences.
yeah. Sorry, fixing things here and now.
Yes.
Isabel.
Yes, you're in charge of Isabel.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you tell her what to do in getting these things fixed.
Okay. She goes,
You know how I'm telling you what to do?
uh-huh,
You do that to her.
okay. This doesn't feel like something a queen would do.
What? Tell people what to do? Have you met the Queen?
Be told what to tell people. And she
That
doesn't think about it.
That depends on the political situation of the Queen. The Queen could be subservient to a higher monarch.
That seems dumb.
Why?
why would you have somebody at the top of the pyramid if they weren't the best? Or I guess the latest.
I mean, the queen may not be the best.
Why is she queen then?
Well, because she's the best in a small pond. But when you
Right.
get the best of the queens, then you'd have the empress.
So I should be empress.
Yes, but in this situation, you're not.
Oh. Why?
Because I'm the emperor.
I see. How did you become emperor?
I wrote the list of things to do and passed it on to you, the queen.
Okay.
Therefore, I must be emperor.
So if I write a better list, I get to be empress and you get to be king? She kind of like raises an eyebrow.
Yes, but can you do these tasks before you start them?
She takes the datapad from me and she goes, "No, but Isabel can." Nods at you. Walks away.
Good.
Okay. So, Zig, what are you up to?
Well,
You could be downstairs with Isabel, technically alone, if you wanted to have any dialogue with her while they're all having those scenes. It's up to you. You could go and involve yourself with the medical drama upstairs.
I think medical drama for sure.
Okay.
Because he was definitely definitely wants to know what's going on because that stuff it was freaky, freaky weird.
Yeah. I think
but
then,
yeah, I
like
think
maybe
we'll
when
look for-
when like Isabel comes down to get obviously Alice, sorry, and takes her away, she maybe just says, "Zig, you probably want to head that way and go upstairs to the med bay again."
yeah,
She
he would just like
gives her like a nod. And I think
Yeah.
Isabel probably just takes the long way around to go there, avoiding any time more with weird, quite frankly. Where she literally slides down the ladder to go through the bottom of the ship to go back up to the med bay.
Yeah, and Zig would he would nod just and then
I think you
Just
could, like, she'll appear in the med bay, but I think you've probably got a bit of time, because I think Isabel will just do like a once over downstairs again, just to like check the place out, because I think that makes sense that she's, a bit worried about everything. So yeah, I think you can head into the med bay and you've got Shakos and Lyko poring over a datapad, either awkwardly close or awkwardly distant. We're not really sure which yet.
Wow. How dare you?
I dare, I'm sorry.
any joy.
If Lyko
None of
falls
this
over.
means very much to me. Here. Look, that's the thing.
And he would look at the thing.
I had to.
Any sense?
And this other one. What do you think?
Okay, which is which? What am I looking at?
Yeah, what is he looking at?
Looking at data on the scans of me and the scans of Stu.
Okay.
Sort of maybe I'll be probably been just one pad skipping between the two of them. Is this not? Look here. I'll open them both at once. She scanned me.
So, I mean, they look the same. You scan you twice.
No, the other one's that guy. I point at the unfortunate Stu.
And I think they could do like a quick kind of like once over crewman Stew, like see what he can kind of like get from the body.
Depends what you're looking for.
I imagine not very much, but
Again, just depends what you're looking for. Give me some kind of idea, because I mean, bodies can tell you a lot if you ask the right question.
Sure.
I guess really like if the scans like super looks like really similar to Lyko, which I assume it does. I think he'd kind of like be kind of going over and looking for Lyko characteristics.
So the only thing that's similar is like an effect that something seems to have had on the brain.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like like if you punch a wall with like a knuckle dust that says "beautiful" in solid gold, and it leaves the imprint of beautiful backwards. And then if somebody else did that elsewhere, you think, those are similar.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
What?
Yeah. So it's that level of something has happened to this guy Stu's brain, and it's left an effect of some kind that is identical to what's in Lyco's brain.
Yeah. Oh, I got that.
Okay,
It's just
okay,
the
that's
beautiful thing that confused the shit out of me.
That's just, I couldn't
Don't
think of
worry
another
about
word
it,
that
I
would
got
be on the
it.
knuckle duster. It's like, I was going to say dolly. It's like, no.
Darkness.
Yeah. Love, hate, whatever.
Do they look similar or do they look identical?
Like
Sorry.
identical.
Okay, cool.
But that's the only similarity, though, right? Besides,
Oh, so everything else is
well,
different.
one is Stu's stuff, and the other one was Lyco's stuff, and the only thing
Yeah.
that's creepily identical is this like after effect.
I think maybe like kind of go to the body, like look at the eyes, and then kind of look at Lyco and just ask how are you? Are you feeling okay? How are you? Anything different?
Shakos snorts, right, and like tries to like stymie her laugh in the suit that's really difficult because obviously her hands can't touch her face. But
Feeling pretty good. They got pretty beat up back there. You saw. And there were the Greys that were on board. One of them tried to do something. It was mentally.
Now, do I as Zig know anything about the Greys? Because I don't think I saw any, did I? Or nobody's really spoke about them.
Oh, maybe we did.
Front of him.
Well, I'm saying it now.
I was gonna say,
Cool.
yeah, I think this
I
is
think
this is news to you. I think, yeah.
Yeah. I think he'd be like, Greys? With that questioning Zig look on his face.
I think Shakos goes.
yeah.
I think Shakos says, "See,"
of perplexed.
and like gestures to Zig, but at obviously Lyco. She's looking at Lyco and gestures to Zig. See.
Now, are Greys something that like people know about, or is it something?
So-
is it like an
So
abstract thing,
this is
or-
see very much like the little grey men of our everyday real life world.
Okay, yeah.
It's that level.
Okay.
So like
That's literally exactly what they are.
yeah, like people assume like there's been hundreds of reports, maybe thousands, maybe millions across like the solar system of people talking about like abductions that all have
Okay,
very
yeah.
similar.
I
like,
think
as I say, just think of our UFO stories, and then
yeah,
you'll know everything you want to know about the
I
Greys.
think that then, instead of like questioningly, it'd be more like Greys,
Hmm.
Yeah.
or more skeptically.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Saw them. Weird saw them.
And what were they? Are they here? Are they still here? Can you still see them? Or
No. They're. I mean, they left. I think they can walk through walls, so it's kind of hard to tell.
let me
Strange
think,
how I
I'm
never
trying to
saw them
see.
then if they can walk through walls. Like Shakos says kind of to herself because obviously she locked herself in a room.
Mhm.
Well,
Like, yeah.
that is a question. Yeah.
No. Did they seem? Were they like tangible, or did they seem just like? Could they have just been illusions? Or
You know how Weird can do that thing where he walks through walls?
yes,
Yeah.
I
Like that.
think they could kind of like laugh fondly a distant memory.
They shot at us with, and also did weird brain stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah. That made my head hurt. Well, the zombies were. I was more concerned with the fact that the zombies were beating the shit out of me. I'll be honest with you. They were strong. They were like cap strong. Ugh.
Okay. Can I like? I don't know if detect magic's the right thing to do. I want to see if if there's like I don't know if I can like detect like if there's been any sort of like psychic
I
like
look for
damage to
residual energy,
Lyco,
something
or
that makes sense
I think
to
the
me.
problem
Like
is that he has
residual-
like energy coursing through him at all times. It's
yeah.
probably a problem, right? Does it give you any actual details?
Let me tell you.
Because if it gives you details, then you might be able to discern through his natural magic bullshit. Right.
You detect all magic spells, affect items and objects, including those on or affecting creatures you can see, as well as hybrid items in the area. You can't detect magical traps, blah, 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 blah. Can determine if one magic source you detect... hold on. No, I'm just going to post it in the thing.
Probably not a bad idea.
We can group go through this.
Indeed. Detects all magical spells effects. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it would. Right? Like, you would know everything magical that was currently affecting the person. Not just, like, what the overriding
So I
magic
guess
was.
like if Zig could like I guess it depends on how good Zig's memory of what Lyko looks like in a magic eye sense.
I think that's an interesting one. I think you need to roll something to like work out his original bullshit, right? But if you're comparing him and this guy, there's definitely something similar about him and this guy, magically.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
As in, clearly they've been affected by the same thing. But that doesn't rule out any of Flyco's theories, sadly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because like the idea of seeing something similar, because you don't get like a lot of detail according to this detect magic. I think it's because there's not really schools of magic in Starfinder though, whereas in D&D you've got like very specific schools that you learn, which is weird. If you can think of questions to ask me about it, like I'll answer what I can. Same goes for MD. If MD's got questions as a group, for this particular thing, I don't mind answering what you can come up with if I can.
I should have taken detect affliction. That might have.
It just comes up cop.
I guess like yeah, you don't get an awful lot of.
You don't, sadly, but like there's enough to say that there is a similarity between the two of them. Yeah, like an uncanny similarity.
It's the same.
Yeah, but it's hard to. Obviously, Lyko is giving off persistent readings, though. This guy isn't. Whereas that could be a sign of the permanently deceased nature this guy has.
Mm-hmm.
But then, who's to say how long the Barai process really took, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Sure.
Like this could be like the instigations of it. We don't know. Like as I said, there probably isn't enough to rule out Barai as a similarity, but like definitely Lyko gives off more magic than just that. Because of the fact that he has like fucking negative energy shielding coursing through his veins.
Of course, yes, obviously. Is there a way to kind of tell if the sort of magic thing that they have like similar to each other is like the maybe not, I don't want to say the cause of death, but the cause of death or something on the guy, and if
the bullet hole in his head seems to be the cause of death.
Yeah, so that's why I said the cause of death.
I mean, how would that tell you, right? Like you see like wispy lines in the air that animate him holding the gun up to his head against his will. Like no.
Yeah, or like maybe like mind control-y type things.
There doesn't seem to be anything like detail that way, sadly. It's maybe just the fact that this is maybe long since this has happened.
Yeah.
And obviously for Lyko it's a lot more recent, I guess. Maybe that's something you could learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think is it I mean kind of safe to assume that the grays could be the cause of this if it caused his head to hurt, like, and that's where Zig's mind is going.
Yeah, like it's still a valid assumption to make as well, right? Like there's nothing really been ruled out other than whatever was affecting this person doesn't seem to be anymore. There's just residual traces of it left over.
Cool.
And Lyko still emanates magic regardless, but obviously has trace elements of whatever this is, and was clearly a more recent. Like it's, if you looked at half-lives of the thing,
Uh-huh. I think you would just kind of look at Lyko, maybe look at Chakos as well and be like, I mean, definitely something there.
Shakos just laughs again, and then like stops herself, puts her hand in her stomach, and puts her hand up, and starts carrying on.
And kind of scratches his head and just. I mean, you said the gray made your head hurt. Do you like? Did you feel any like compulsions or anything like during that or after that, or do you just
I
was
just
it
shake
just
my
like a
head.
ache?
No, it was just. Yeah, no, it was just like. It's hard to
How
describe.
did the and again he kind of like maybe reluctantly using the word gray. Um, how did the grays do it? Was it like a physical like sort of attack,
It
or
was.
was it just a
I'm trying to remember actually. One of them was shooting first, and then just sort of gave up and started doing mental attacks, right?
The very first one you encountered in the engine
Yeah.
room, tried to put you guys to sleep. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. But like, there was shooting at one point, if I recall, right?
Oh yeah, like a bunch of them tried to
Before we
shoot and then
started.
realised that they couldn't do much. Right? They were
Did
like,
the one in the cockpit
yeah, the
bridge do
bridge.
that?
So the one in the bridge looked at you funny. Remember?
Yeah.
And then seemed to do something with its gun, swapping out its ammo. And
Yeah, it tried
then
to shoot a special round at me.
yeah, and that one specifically changed its target, like its tactics, I should say.
Yeah.
For you.
Okay. Just wanted to double check that. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
that's
did
fine. Yeah,
remember it shooting at me, and I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that I wasn't
And
confusing
it
with one of the ones shooting at somebody
I
else.
know, and remember it messed up and like hit its buddy and stuff.
Hit one of the,
Yeah.
So okay, I see. No, it was trying to. It changed. I saw it change its ammo, and it tried to shoot me and missed. Hit one of the zombies. Then it was like it decided, you know, why bother trying to aim at someone who's surrounded by zombies, and it just, I don't know, it didn't get near me. Just looked at me a lot. It was like it was
okay?
staring intently, and I remember just feeling something and being sure that it was coming from it.
I see.
I think Shakos elbows you again and says, "You
Hey,
made an impression on the Greys. Of course you would." Just kind of laughs that off.
I don't know how often they've come across people like me. Maybe they're not used to this. A lot of people
Um,
aren't really.
Sucks she had to die to get interesting. And she elbows you again.
Wow.
wow, I think you even like
Yeah,
Ooh.
thing is though, like Shakos' sense of humour is mostly cope with the horrible situation you're in any way you can.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. See what I have to put up with, Zig?
Man. I think Zig kind of takes a mental note to kind of just keep an eye on like Lyko's behavior.
Hmm.
To see, because like, you know, mind controlling and mind affecting things aren't
Mind
completely
affecting
alien to him.
effects, yeah.
Mind affecting effects. So he doesn't want yeah, so he's
I
definitely
have a
taking a mental
+1
note to keep
against
an eye on
mind
it.
affecting effects, so
Mhm.
remember. I do.
I know.
True.
Love it. So good.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I think he'd kind of like look back at the kind of data and just, I guess, scratch his head at it because it doesn't really make much sense because he has nothing really to go on based on the fact that he hasn't seen these supposed greys. And
Zig
I
is
mean,
not a
Lyko's a
trained
weird boy
doctor.
anyway. He's not.
Zig is in
Unfortunately.
fact a rat that went to sun school.
Yeah. and just so happened to like he could like maybe bluff his way through like, oh, I can fix things. I don't know what the problem is, but I can make it feel better.
Look at that, not even a need for a bandage. What magic?
On dodge.
Oh, yeah. So, it's good. Yeah, like, while yous are sussing that stuff out, weird. I feel like you should probably be fixing things, maybe, as well.
Well,
Getting
fix some
hands-on.
things.
Yeah.
Fix some
So,
things.
do you want to give me a engineering role and tell me what you're specifically working on first, ideally? What
Yeah.
part of the ship have you chosen to work on?
The neutron flow.
The flux capacitor.
Okay.
What worked on?
Like most of like the general, like, it's the moving the ship and the life support is the problem is really, right? I think I guess you'd call them EPS conduits, right? The getting the power to where it needs to go without it building up overloads. Yeah, all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Because you've done the once over of if we turn on all of this stuff, we'll explode. That's why you routed special power to the mid bay for them.
I'm going to start in the cockpit,
Okay. Cool.
dealing with the most critical systems that will be needed for a quick getaway.
Okay.
And
So-
powering down anything else that's not immediately needed.
Right, so I'll just put you on bridge, and then crit systems, and then where do you want Alice? Right, so that's you for weird.
She can crack on with the engine.
Alice can be on the engine, okay. Which one, the actual engine or the drift?
The actual engine.
Okay, engine thrusters. Okay, and then Isabella will actually call her since that's her goddamn name.
I mean, Alice gets to decide that, surely.
Yeah, but you told Alice what to say, so
Yeah, sure. She gets to do the drift. She's got experience with messing with drift drives.
that's true. She has messed with drift drives before. Okay, cool. This is good. We can get some rolls in. Do you want to give me your engineering roll for the cockpit stuff? Are you doing all this in your armor, or are you like?
Yeah, it's good for heavy lifting, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. I'll chuck you over to the.
33.
Okay, and that's for that. Let me get. So Alice has a sheet somewhere, I believe. I believe that was the thing we all agreed on that she should have.
That's
How-
something I made.
How many levels behind is she though? Where does she live? Alice 3.0. There we are. That's the handout for her. Where are the characters? Alice PC. Right. What level is she operating at the moment? What was she last? She's probably like not.
It should sound the sheet, shouldn't it?
She's 8. Level 8 apparently. Okay, so we can reasonably assume that she'll probably have at least a +1 to anything I roll.
Yeah, I mean, her engineering is 15.
Apparently that's to GM, but she got a 31. Which is pretty good, quite frankly. So that's what, a 32 technically. So if we're giving her a generous +1 between those levels. So
Yep.
Alice, it's 32. It's alright. And then I'll get some rolls for Isabel. I'm actually losing my mind because I'm scrolling up chat looking for her character sheet. That's dumb. That would
It
never.
might be that.
It would never lead anywhere. That would be. Oh man.
It's
Right.
stupid.
It's so stupid. I'm just having one of those moments. Where is her character sheet? She does have one. Is this you? This is her. Okay, cool. And where are her skills? Wabam. Nice. Those are some pretty damn good rolls you guys did.
Yep, we can get this place running quickly.
Yeah, so that is a, let's see, step 1 is 33, 32, 33. Those are strong. Aren't you glad, like, you non-engineer people, really glad that you've got like an actual fucking tech head crew?
Yep.
Um,
Just
yeah.
for funsies.
Zig falls over a wire that's loose in the mid bay.
My engineer sense is tingling.
Like, do you want to just give us an engineering roll just to see what happens? You don't need to actually be working on anything, but I think just for more curiosity's sake.
What, an engineering role?
Yeah, just why
Yeah.
not? Like Zig rolled one for
See
the
what
hell of it,
happens.
so
I mean, I object. Roll and appease you people.
Oh man, it's just me who's crap.
no, like that wouldn't be good in this scenario. A 21's still not that good with the
Yeah, I
levers
know,
are
but
working
it's
out
like
sadly.
substantially better.
It's 3 times better than your roll. You're right. You are right. So Lyco is 3 Zigs by comparison to engineers.
The trench coat, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. It's a very tall Zig.
Very
Stop.
tall trench coat.
So, and to be fair, I never said the trench coat covered anything, I guess.
Oh,
Oh dear. It's crazy. Where are the other 2 Zigs? Past and future, I guess? Okay, cool.
We are Zig.
Andy, anything particularly important they want to do in, as another scene? Because I feel like repairs are going pretty well as is. But if people want to interact with either, obviously, Weird, Alice, or Isabel, they can do so while solving more things, or you can carry on mystery hunting where you are. It's up to you. Do you just want to ask me more medical questions? Does Weird have anything else he wants to get up to?
I mean,
Can't think of anything actually.
Let's refer to the goals page, shall we? Anything in
I'm
there
not-
inspiring?
Yes, I will make limbs out of.
I mean, there's a few limbs lying around.
In here, yeah. We did demolishing zombies in here. I will.
Well, they were all kind of dragged into the med bay.
Yeah.
I prefer dredged.
Draged.
I just on the way past connect my datapad up to download medbay documents for Nazman Keglik.
Okay, yeah. So just like the stuff that was picked up from Stu and Lyco. Yeah.
Literally everything. Just, I'm sure he'll be able to find something out of these zombies to make.
Yeah, do you want to give me a wee computer roll? And we'll see how easy that is for you, because it's probably going to be pretty easy.
Basics.
Exactly, yeah. Just literally on the
I
way
will
past.
pass wireless
Exactly.
packet.
Yep.
Yep.
Not even if it's high, it's just literally just, do you want to accept file? Yep, that's
Download
fine.
it with your eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
I did that
download
on
a
my-
car.
Wouldn't download.
So, like, this might not be true, but I learned a bit of trivia that the music they used for that is actually without, like, they used it without permission. So
God.
that in
I
itself
wouldn't
is
be
piracy.
surprised.
Like,
That's brilliant.
yeah, like
I really hope that's true.
I want it to be true, but you know where I read it online, so instant skepticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun thing to read nonetheless, if it was. Since I think everybody can hear that tune in their head.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, you've got that data, and you can feel free to write that in your character sheet somewhere that it's like Evilari med data, I guess.
Wouldn't download the car, hey.
Beyond that, though, yeah, like anything else pressing that you want to get achieved? Because obviously my instinct was to cut back to like Lyco and Zig, but I feel like Weird should also get screen time that isn't just rolling engineering.
I don't know. I'm happy with my role.
Can I roll more engineer?
I mean, he will be rolling more engineering, but like, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel like maybe like after his tinkering on the bridge, maybe like more like, you know, systems come online, like proper lighting everywhere, you know? Instead of mood lighting, it's now switched to functional lighting.
And I play the very finest in Acatonian
The what? The finest Acatonian what? Did you get cut off?
free jazz.
Okay.
I could have sworn
Oh,
you were going to
sweet.
say flute music for some reason.
That's what I thought. I was like, the finest Acatonian flute.
I was like, oh. I thought I was going to say opera. So there we are. Acatonian opera is just
Sure,
rats
Accordion jazz.
singing.
Yeah.
That's good.
That for some reason puts me in mind of Star Wars. Oh, it's because of the cantina.
Mhm. So I guess if you're
Oh,
happy,
excuse
like tinkering with the bridge, yeah.
Yep.
Like, the captain's chair is pretty trashed, given that, you know, there was explosions everywhere.
I
Right in the
think
Yeah, like, it's probably, like, it is probably fixable.
Okay.
It's just, you'd probably need to, like, maybe trash that seat that's in that room next to it, you know?
It's too small for me anyway.
I mean, most things currently are. You could get out of your goddamn suit and it would be perfectly sized, but no. Since you are still a normal sized person in a large suit,
Yeah, but then I would be a weak little man.
it'd still be very smart.
Yeah, but this way I'm smart and a tank.
Mhm. Yep.
It seems like a foolish trade.
Mm.
I imagine along the way there's some awkward moments of crossing over Alice to get to grab tools and things and just
Yeah, like,
awkward
I think
past.
definitely like situations where it's like, you know, oh, where's the hydro spanner? And then like Isabel will say, oh, we had that in the bridge, and she'll be like, can you get me it? And she'll be like, why don't you go get it? And she goes, I don't want to get it. You know, like quite bluntly, because Alice doesn't exactly hide much. She hides a bit though, right? Like she's had some pretty intimate conversations with Lyko, specifically about what she isn't willing to say to people. But yeah, and obviously she spoke a lot at that random secret storage space in the 11th hour, with you, Nix5 back then, you know.
Yep.
Which is probably one of my favourite conversations you and her have ever had, I think. The super awkward one in the middle of the ship. And I think, yeah, like, Isabel's obviously working away on the drift, and I don't think anybody really knows what the hell she's doing to the drift, but there's a lot of things being added to it or being, like, taken out of it and repurposed and rewired, and yeah, like...
We shall see.
Yeah, like, she's doing something to it, right? And it's getting done. I think if we get another liner above 30s again, I think we could probably leave the rolls there. But if we get like, because I think we pretty much need 25s to succeed without setbacks at these. If we can get 30s, we're making damn good progress.
30's party.
So we'll do those just now. We'll have another line-up of rolls, and then we can at least know we've checkpointed those. So do you want to give me your roll for working on some systems?
Suppose so. Oh, 25.
It's still progress though, right? It's still achieving it. It's just not like...
Yeah, but it's not perfect.
It's not progress plus. It's just progress.
Yes.
But hey, I've still got other rolls to make, so this is going to be interesting. Right, so next was Alice. So let me bring her sheet up and let me... I don't know how I set it so it's not to GM only. There'll be a button for that. Public roles. There we go.
Holy gross.
So,
Public.
wabam. Woohoo. Nah.
Ooh.
She has a setback. Right, so we've got 25 for you, 21 for her, and then whatever Isabel can manage. Again, I'm scrolling up in the chat for hers apparently. That's the second time. Makes sense, obviously, in my brain. Isabel's role. Isabel's was public before, so I don't need to change that. Wabam. Okay, yeah. Isabel's making good progress. You got 29.
Okay.
That does mean to say that because of that, we'll need at least one more roll from Weird and Isabel, and then obviously whatever Alice has fucked up will need to be rectified.
That's more like it.
There we go. Okay, may as well just do the other ones just now then. Right, so Alice fixing the fuck up. Boom!
Oof.
Look at that. Clearly she knows what she's doing. Gonna write crit in there. 33 for you. And then Isabel. Boom. Consistently okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, right. So I think we can safely say that we've got the bridge critical systems up and running. We've got the engine thrusters, and this is obviously after, like, you know, probably, you know, maybe 6 hours of work, maybe 7 hours of work. the engine thrusters work. Whether or not they'll keep working after an extended period of time, or if the ship's stressed in any way, maybe not. But yeah. And Isabel is convinced the ship will go into drift, and if need be, she can cut power to the drive that should shunt you out of drift. Anything in between is whatever happens in between.
It's true.
Yep. And that is the way she'll put that across, where she just kind of like, she kind of just nods and goes, it'll go into drift, and we will come out of drift. And I promise nothing else. She kind of just nods, because this was easier before. Now it's different. Kind of nods. But that's what our crew come up with. At least, like our engineering squad. I don't remember, but I feel like CC was put on the Azure Flare, but was he going to be allowed to try and fix it? Was that the plan? That's the part I don't remember. I know he was on the Azure Flare. I just don't remember if he's on it. Because, yeah, I generally don't remember if he's allowed to fix things or not on that ship.
Yeah, why not?
It'll be fine.
Okay. Interesting. Yes.
We'll let him and the Queen fight about it.
I mean, to be fair, do you think she'll ever stay mad at him? Like, he's small and fuzzy, so, like, I feel like if Andy's got a chance at surviving her wrath, it's him. Plus, he'll probably shout and scream back at her, quite frankly. It was obviously way too optimistic to think I had a character sheet for him, wasn't it? Oh, that's a D20 roll. We're bam. Well then. I'm just going to let you see that CC on Azure Flare rolled a 2 plus modifier.
Oh man. I'm glad that's not my ship.
Yep.
We don't know how good his modifier is though, so let's just wait.
Right, well, if the minimum that those guys had to fix stuff was a 25, you're gonna be hoping his modifier's a 23.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Is it?
Oh,
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
that's not something I'd
I
reveal.
believe.
That's just something you'll need to wait and see. Because obviously,
Says Ryan won't tell us about.
because he's obviously gonna tell Zora, right, when he thinks it's fixed.
Yeah.
Likely, since Zora's like his fucking alpha male or whatever. So yeah. But besides that, we can just assume that CC has been working on the Azure Flare, and it's probably went as well as we all assumed that episode would go. That's one of those DLC episodes, right? Where people want to see what happened between Ryan RPing as a chittering small 4-armed thing, or 6-armed thing, and I guess 6, and the haughty queen, you know. I feel like, yeah.
That's HAUGHTY.
Hell yeah, it is.
In case anyone listening.
I mean, she was a bit of a looker as well, right? She was alright. She was a good looking queen.
How dare you objectify this fictional character, right?
What, Thanaida?
Good looking Queen.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Mhm.
do the money.
So, anyway, obviously you can then reallocate resources to like try and fix up other parts of this ship if you want. Like anything else you want to fix on the Kiva Larry?
The teleporter,
You want to build one first? Yeah?
please. Yes.
Cool. Level up Zig a bit.
How hard can it be? It's just like drift for people.
Yeah, it is just people. And then the not time part in between. So that's as I said. Level up Zig a bit. He already messes with time.
Yep.
Yeah, so just work out the time kinks and then
It's just when you get to, teleporting people, you can go, I can get you anywhere in the galaxy. But when you get there, that's anybody's guess.
it's fine if they pay in advance.
Is there anything people want fixed?
So critical systems mostly are things like the life support and the gravity and all that nonsense, right?
Yeah.
The
Like,
weapons on this thing.
I don't know. You've also got the ship sheet.
Actually, we do.
Key for flying.
This is true.
Ah. There's the Norakami dropship.
No, that's the final hour.
Oh, sorry.
Kivalari Intel is above that.
Ah, Evil Adventure. I see.
Evilari.
Zoom. Zoom. Yeah, it's
So-
got guns.
So much zoom. Right, so
I'll
Fix
fix it.
guns.
okay, you get a bunch of guns. What one do you want to focus on? The forward gun? Or the turret?
The high explosive missile launcher.
Yeah, what could possibly go
Yeah.
wrong with that?
It's good.
I think as well, like I think initial discovery of this is the fact that it was hard to find as well, right? Like it's obviously clearly designed so it's not noticeable. So it obviously retracts into the hull. Just kind of
My
cool.
explosive sensor's tingling.
He was like, bombs this way.
Bombus?
I'm
Who
getting
is
it.
Bombus, eh?
I'm getting a clue. So yeah, you head over there. Are you bringing the team in, or are you going to do this yourself?
Doing this myself.
Okay.
They've got things to do.
Like what? Let me reassign
yeah.
everybody some jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get Alice to get Isabel to go and look at the kitchen.
Okay. Well, just
Um,
for the idea to see if it's working. Yeah.
Yeah. Do diagnostics on all the kitchen equipment.
Okay. Cool. So
Um,
Alice goes, "Oh, she's gonna love that." And then
and Alice gets to go work on the shields.
okay, Alice goes, "I can do that."
Yes.
And then she goes off to look for wherever that is on the ship. And then Isabel heads to the kitchen thing and literally walks in, like gets like a cup from a cupboard, puts it under the tap, turns the tap on, pours it out, watches the water drain away, looks over at the kind of hob area, sits the cup on the hob, turns the hob on, stares at it for like 30 seconds of awkward filming, and then turns off the hob, feels the cup is hot, acknowledges this, puts cup in cupboard, finishes
Yep.
diagnostics.
Oh, she should be to check the fridge.
Yeah. What's that, sorry?
She puts the hot cup in the fridge to check that the fridge is working.
Yep, there we go.
Yep.
See? We got this, right?
There's a
Uh,
whole heap of things she could be doing.
Yeah.
I'm keeping her busy.
She puts the chairs in at the table, moves them out of the
Yep.
table, looks at them, goes, nods. Mm-hmm.
That's right, because once she's done that, light bulbs the next thing on the list.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh dear. So yeah, she just very like, possibly just to entertain herself, you know,
Yeah.
does this. And then, you know, maybe in between all that bullshit, she actually then just keeps making sure parts of the ship are actually okay. And like checking cupboards that haven't been opened yet and stuff, you know. Actually like being a bit of a security guard in a way, you know.
Put
Kind of-
zombies under the beds and things.
Exactly, yeah. And also just really confused at the room that's like not used, right? The one that Lyko couldn't make sense of either. The one that like Shakos was like, but people slept in that.
True.
Yeah, it's like she looks at that and goes, given what she's heard of the conversations that have been said so far as well, she's like, that's weird. And then punctures all the plastic covers because she's a child. And why leave them perfect? And then leaves the room. You know, because it's the equivalent of bubble wrap, right? Although again, I read that they were going to try and make bubble wrap not pop now. I don't understand why people would do this.
What's
Yeah.
the point in that?
But it's
Because they've
reusable.
kind of already done that. Yeah.
No, like they mean like literally the noise, the popping noise.
Oh right, yeah, I have encountered stuff that doesn't. Really...
So you can still like pop it physically, but there's no noise, no satisfying noise to it, and
I
that
don't approve.
that's dumb. But anyway, so
Why
back
don't they
in-
make it so it screams?
I mean, yeah, right. Well, it kind of does.
Especially wrap up in it.
Right. So I'm going to just tick Isabel's job sheet to say she did hers. Yeah.
I demand engineering roles.
Yep. I'll give you it, but it's probably more like inspection based roles, right? Let's see. I don't think anything
Oh,
was
she
the-
used to.
I mean, I feel like maybe diplomacy for keeping calm through all of that, but it's probably just going to be perception.
Survival.
Okay. She obviously is putting half of her ass into this job, and only
Yeah.
half. So yeah, there's her role for that.
Which half?
I'll let you decide. And then
Wow. Wowzers. I don't
thanks.
know what that voice was about.
That's fine. And then right, do you want to roll for the? Sorry, let's just get this very, very clear for everybody at home. Let's read out the exact names. The high explosive missile launcher that does 4d8 damage. And that's
Yes.
ship-based damage. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crit fail.
That's crit fail. Oh boy.
Okay, I'm gonna have
I
Alice
always
roll.
feel bad for taking the piss out of Alice. I have Isabel now.
Yeah. And then I think Alice is gonna roll for shields.
I mean, your crit fail's still, not that bad a roll.
Your crit fail is the same as my crit success.
So that is a fail and setback on yours, and Alice has a success with progress. A success plus step. Okay, so Alice has done really well, to be honest, with the shields. She obviously got her head in the game. As for and Isabel got, what was it, a 23? So, the hob works and the seats work.
Puts cup on table to make sure it stays.
Mhm.
Puts cup off table to make sure it's easily removable.
Does that thing where puts cup on table, pushes cup off table, watches it hit ground, nods succinctly, picks cup up, puts it back in cupboard eventually. Diagnostic tool over. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Actually, it's probably one of my favourite scenes of the entire session so far. It's just
Yeah.
bullshit Isabel.
That's what I'm coming for.
You think of all of her badass moments, like tearing limousines open with swords made of light, and you're like, this is what we've reduced her to. Using a cup as a diagnostic tool. Yup. I feel like this is the content tone we went for. But yeah, so you definitely haven't done well. Like, if anything, that system isn't going to come online anytime soon. Like the rockets, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You've maybe realised that you've actively been taking things and rerouting them from here for previous repairs.
Fucking coffee machine.
Yeah, right. Isabel's sitting with a coffee at the moment, just using the coffee machine. A cup holds coffee. Good. So yeah, all of that has you rerouting things like the med bay, you making sure life support works and doesn't overload. You've realised that all the spare kind of power conduits you've been using are the ones that might have been used for all the secret weapon systems built into the ship. So you're now I know why there was loads more resources available than there should have been. The weapons that the ship, air quote, doesn't have when it's a medical scout,
Yeah.
But obviously are designed to be in shielded areas of the ship that deploy when battle commences. So, yeah, so that doesn't work. But there are other weapons to look at if you wanted to have a nosy at them.
Yes, I should look at the lasers.
Okay.
The little baby lasers.
So we got forward lasers. I think that's it, isn't it? It's just the turret and the lasers. Yep. So yeah, do you want to give the lasers a go?
26.
Definitely making progress on the lasers. So let me just make sure I've got notes of this. So rockets, no work.
No rockets, no.
Just put yet in brackets because if you reroute all the safety stuff you've done, you could probably get them to work. But then that's one of those things mid-battle that'll be exciting to do, right? When you're
They want life support with bombs.
yeah, it's we could just divert all power from shields into making the rockets fire. So yeah.
What if I just pop outside the ship and throw the missiles at people?
I mean, it's fair, right? As long as you're doing it with a cigar in your mouth and a cowboy hat on.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That's the only way. Or perhaps you just navigate the bomb to them and then you just phase through the whole thing and get the other ship to pick you up at the other side. Yeah.
Well, I phase into the cockpit and say, "Here, this is for you."
Mhm.
Phase out of it.
Yep. while flipping them off, yeah.
It's
good. Okay, so lasers. Do you want to give me another roll for the lasers, and we'll see how well they go.
Yes. 25.
That's good enough. Yep, you can definitely get them to work. Okay, lasers working. Good. Okay, so the rockets don't work, but the laser system, because it's a different part of the ship, because that's the front of the ship, obviously they're powered through different conduits that you've not rerouted. So it makes sense. Most of the explosive stuff's at the back of the ship anyway, so probably best to keep that together, you know.
Just close the door on it. Lock it.
No need to see this cupboard anymore. So yeah, anything else you want to patch up in the ship, or anybody else get any suggestions for the Kivalari? Because you do have as I said, 3 engineers.
I've run out of specific plans, so just moving to the burning wild sage through the corridors to get rid of evil spirits.
I don't know, roll mysticism.
Yep.
Jeez.
Making sure to go past the kitchen where Alice is doing her work.
Isabel, yep.
Oh, critical fail.
Okay, so I think you burn yourself with the sage. Yep. That's fine.
Okay, then
if it burns you, obviously it burns the spirits, so...
No, fuck. This burns. I will delegate it downwards to Isabel. Add it to her list.
Okay. I think we just harsh cuts to a cup sat on a table with some sage stuck in it, burning. Yep. Her just staring at it with her arms folded on a chair in the kitchen, and then eventually the smoke alarm going off. Yep, I just heard just staring. So yeah, I think every day the place is punctuated with a smoke alarm noise. Or I guess fire alarm is probably more accurate.
It's all part of the critical systems check.
Is that what Weird says over comms?
Yes. This is just a drill. Do not panic.
Any responses from Zig and Lyko?
Panic mode activated.
I just look at the other two and then shrug.
So what? Obviously that's going to be 6 to possibly 8 hours of work they're doing, right? So
okay, yeah, we'll have to be busy with some other stuff.
Yeah, what do you just want to get up to? Because keep in mind, you've got travel between all your ships, right? If need be. Obviously, I would suggest staying away from the final hour for narrative reasons. But yeah, as for the other ones, as I said, Isabel and Alice exist. Also, they'll be doing a lot of this stuff, but they doesn't mean to say you can't interact with them along the way, you know. And given the rate of things, Isabel might just bugger off to the Azure Flare, depending on how this
I
goes.
might actually ask Isabel what she knows about the, if she knows anything about med bed data, just in case. I don't know.
Yeah.
Abadar might. Excuse me. Abadar might teach something. About
Right?
that.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't seem unreasonable.
Ryan checks her sheet. Let's see. It's okay.
Okay, I will. You know what? Let me RP that for you.
Yep. And you walk in and she's got sage in a cup, staring at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was wondering, do you have any training in medical reports? Standard medbed stuff.
It looks at you and he raises an eyebrow and goes, "Can do first aid." And she looks you up and down. You feeling okay?
Yes, it's So my concern was there were some weird similarities in. Well, look at this. I'll go over and show her the two. You see that, and then this. Just flick back and forth between them a few times.
She goes, "Okay." So med scans. Looking over them. And she looks at one, takes the pad from you and actually stares at it and goes, "Is this you?" And she looks at you
Yeah?
Are you
Oh,
scanning
actually,
yourself?
let me see which one is that. Is it in fact me?
Yeah, it's
Yeah. That's me.
I think like Barai things are obvious enough to people that know that they're bad, right? Like negative energy coursing through a body is not good.
Yeah.
But the fact that things are still working, despite it seemingly dead, yeah. It's like, and the other one is clearly dead, whereas
Yeah.
yours is functioning. So she's, it's
Yeah, that one's me.
okay. Oh, you got, your brains are messed up. She shrugs and hands you the pad.
Okay.
Have you scanned anything else?
What did Weird ask you to do in here?
Oh, I have to make sure all the systems are functioning in the kitchen. She just stares at you like the most obvious bullshit stare.
It's the cup. Is the cup working?
You mean my diagnostic device?
Sure.
She goes, well, the smoke alarms work.
I heard that. Yeah.
You can nod. Because you can have coffee if you want. I wouldn't, but you can.
Yeah. Maybe arrange checking that right now.
I would in fact recommend maybe purging all of the supplies, edible
Good
style.
idea. Let's yeah.
Maybe we should get all the supplies from another ship here, ones that we trust, that aren't maybe crystalline in nature.
This is all good thinking. Do you have a second? Come to the med bay.
Goes, 1 second till I finish all my important work here. And then she just, like, turns the sage upside down in the cup to put it out. And then just, like, walks away with you. Yeah. And it's literally upstairs anyway, so yeah, just leave and go up the stairs.
Here's what I'm thinking, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We scan everyone.
Okay. Oh, this was the plan. I see. Like, I think she was expecting more, the way she says that as well.
There is more. There is more. Like, we scan everyone, and then we compare brain scans, and we scan everyone off ship and see if there are any common irregularities that only occur in the people who have been on the Kivalari. Because that would suggest there was exposure to whatever substance we're releasing in here. Alternatively, it could be the Greys, but they're slippery, so they could go on to other ships without being noticed. So but we know with pretty high degree of certainty the horrific red stuff, the blood foam thing that crystallizes some people and makes others some form of zombie, that's not been on the other ships.
I'm gonna do a retroactive roll for her when she was wandering around.
Okay.
Nah, it's cool, she never noticed it. And just to see if she would have noticed the one that's in the airlock. Like the foamy red container. It's like,
okay.
It was just in case, like, when on our wanders through the ship, she'd have actually, like, got reminded about it, because a lot's happened since that was brought up in conversation. And that's probably a massive liability, right? Or it should be in everyone's eyes, that there's a canister of this who's sat in an airlock.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
It is what it is.
So yeah, she's kind of nods and goes, "Okay, you were scanned." She looks down at the. I assume he's in medbay by now. Looks down at the stew and goes, "Okay, so he was scanned." She looks between Shakos and Zig.
Who's first?
I'll go. Why not?
I give him a thumbs up. You need a hand getting on the bed.
Zig,
bursts into fire and flies up.
Does he just like starlight form and fly up, and then talking like multiple voices? I am Zig. No, he does not. He just like clambers onto the bed, probably quite clumsily.
And keep in mind, you're still in a spacesuit as well, so
yeah.
Okay. Chekos, you got this working pretty easily previously. You wanna?
And she's like, "Okay." she says, like, completely confidently. And then, like, taps a couple of buttons and the med scanner thing, like, takes, obviously, Zig in and brings up his results.
Okay, let's see what it says.
Yeah, it's not a match at all.
Nothing.
Nope. Nope.
Well, I guess, seeing as I haven't been in contact with the Greys, that could make sense.
Sounds saying that as if it's a weird thing.
Jumps off the bed.
Okay. Takos, would you?
Don't lobotomize me. And she passes you the pad and hops on the bed.
I didn't think this thing could do that.
Okay, can someone else work the pad, please?
It'll be fine. Do you want me to make a roll for using?
I mean, no. Like, I feel like you can push the big red scan button.
Yeah,
It's right next to the slightly mauve lobotomy button.
I push scan and
Okay.
it's lobotomy.
Is it that picture of the sweating man? Whew.
Lobotomize. Physician lobotomize yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I scan.
you scan her. Yeah, nothing.
No,
No.
you're fine. You're clear. Isabel, are you alright with being scanned?
She looks at you, and she like raises an eyebrow, and then she jumps on the bed and lays down.
And I press scan.
Yep. Yeah, something is weird with the scanner. Like,
Scanner.
Yeah.
Itself, yeah.
like it scans, but then it's as if it's like an empty bed. Like it comes back
Okay.
inconclusive.
Probably just look concerned for several seconds, just staring at it, looking.
I think she just like from the bed just like tilts her head in the helmet with the clear kind of like screen and just says, "What's the prognosis, Doc?"
Let me just reset this and see if I can do it again, because it's not. And then I will do it again.
Do you want to roll anything to maybe see if you can do it better? Like,
Yeah.
Do you want to do computers or medicine? Depending on how you want to operate it.
Is better for me.
Okay, cool.
Still not good, but better.
It's not great, but it's not like, it's not like super difficult, but like everything looks like it's exactly what it was when it scanned Stu, you, and Shrakos and Zig, right?
Yeah, the settings look fine.
Yep. You can hit scan again, and yeah, it comes back inconclusive.
You're inconclusive.
Thank you. And she looks at the scanner like results. And
I
then
sure
stares at
them
them.
quite
Yeah, and she like stares at them and just like, huh. Must be
Is
the
this
suit.
because
And she taps on like the armor plating she's obviously encased in, the blue armor.
could be, yeah.
So like, I ain't taking this off in here, buddy.
That's fair.
She looks over at the pile of like fucking previous zombies in the corner.
Hold the bolt. Depending on what it does.
No.
It's always a great statement from your wizard, isn't it?
This may or may not be helpful.
The mystic decides to cast explosive rocket launcher.
Potentially life bubble is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But life
That's
bubble
the
around the
thought.
bed that people don't have to wear masks if they're afraid of things. I just need to see what the exclusion list is because it's very specific.
Okay. Right. Well, you have. What was it?
Is it a death effect?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're trying to suss out at the moment, isn't it, with the scanner?
It enables the target to breathe freely in a variety of atmospheric conditions, including corrosive, thick, thin, and toxic atmospheres, as well as underwater or in a vacuum. It also makes the target immune to harmful gases and vapors, including all inhaled diseases and poisons, as well as
I
spells
mean,
with harmful
Paul's pretty
gases.
blown. Yeah.
So, like, if they were born, you're fine, right? And assuming you don't
Yeah.
touch it, you'd be fine, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is me as Ryan, not so much Ryan the GM, but like just me, Ryan the person. Been like, okay, if it's not airborne and you're not touching it, you should be fine unless it's a radioactive thing, right?
Yeah, it's radiation's the exception, as along with the other thing. It does not. What is it not?
Like, IRL thoughts, people. Are
Okay.
we missing anything obviously threatening in the scene?
Life bubble doesn't provide protection from energy damage, negative or positive energy, such as found in the negative positive energy plane, or radiation.
Okay.
And it doesn't give you visibility or anything.
Mhm.
If you can't see, it doesn't give you.
Yeah, like if you're walking through a big massive, like, smoke cloud that's toxic, you don't get to see through the smoke cloud, but you get to not
Yeah.
need to breathe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, besides being obviously, as I say, I'm trying to think of other ways to think this infection problem could happen. And that's really the main ways, right? Radiation based or touch besides airborne, because he's protecting you from airborne. So touch and radiation are the only other two options that are possibly the problem. Other than magic, that I'm aware is very difficult to troubleshoot.
Which
Yes.
is carried by rats.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
What if it's carried by
But your rat's trying to stop it being carried. So
brainwaves? What if it's carried by words?
I mean, yeah, I guess so, right?
Pontypool. That was the film. There must be some book.
Is that still technically airborne then if it's using sound, right? Because of the vibrations?
Well, it wasn't the sound. It was actually it was the words themselves. The written down worked as well.
Mm.
It was like a zombie meme. It was actually really ahead of its time. It's a really interesting film.
Okay,
Sorry.
so how's Zig pitching this?
I think
Oh,
what he'll
just
do
Mhm.
is he says, "Well, look, if we're worried about the air, I can create a bubble that will protect us. If you're nervous, what I'll do is I'll do it, and I'll take my hat off."
To be fair, he would do that even if it was dangerous. Just need to offer him some food.
She kind of just looks at Zig and then
That was a long
at
time ago.
Lyko. And then she says,
That was like 2 weeks ago, or something. I lose track.
We'll put it. Let me get back to you on that soon, very soon.
Okay.
Isabel just kind of turns to you, Lyko, and says, "Do we really think my brain and your brain are aligned?" She raises an eyebrow.
No, but if there is some sort of anomaly that's being caused by our presence here, it doesn't necessarily mean like it's gonna, manifest in the same way in all of us. I just think if you're okay with it, scanning you would probably be advisable.
She kind of just stares for a good long minute. She goes, "I would rather not leave the safety of the encounter suit." She
Okay.
looks over at she nods towards the pile of bodies. "We don't know how they got infected. Not truly. We haven't really
No.
ruled out anything. I am disinclined to rush towards a more fatal ending. Again."
Yeah, that's fair.
If it's still inconclusive after everyone else's scans, you can ask me again. I can't guarantee my answer will change.
I just know there.
And she's like, "Answers are valid, risks are not." She kind of nods, which basically means, if there's zero information gained, if you scan everybody else that's willing to go through this without the problems the scanners had with her, then she'll probably be open to that conversation so you can try and learn something. But if she doesn't need to, then she's not going to risk it, let's face it. This is the Ellen Ripley moment in Alien, really, isn't it? You haven't been through quarantine yet. She's like, "I ain't overrating." So, yeah, right. Looking pretty sus. Okay, who'd you go to next?
Not the captain.
Because he is far away.
Not small.
Not small, but far away.
You know what? I think it has to be weird. I think I'll call him weird and say, "Hey, sorry to interrupt. I know you have important things do.
Don't worry, just finish with the sage.
Yeah. I wanted to try and get everyone scanned for any abnormalities. I'm just concerned about, what exposure to this might potentially do, or what might, our encounter with the Greys do.
How big a scanner do you have?
Person sized?
Define person.
I think he's worried because he's a large boy in his armor. Like the ability to scan you if they pivot the bed, so it's like
it's a bit big for it's a bit big for Zig.
Okay.
you can pivot the bed so they stand up, and you could stand within the scanning. It would just be awkward as hell.
I shall be over momentarily.
Okay, good. That's great. Thank you.
Do you just hear scraping down the corridors, or are you gonna?
Well, that's just phasing through corridors, isn't it?
Okay.
Oh, God.
Well, you've got a choice, right? Phasing through might interrupt power things. Scraping through is gonna just interrupt everybody's hearing. But yeah, like you can do
I
either.
just give Isabel a list of check everywhere that I phase through.
Okay. I think you'll probably find cups in all of those rooms.
Yep.
So
That is fine.
yeah, you get to the med bay.
Okay.
Okay. You think you can? You think you can get on that?
Like Isabel just hits the button that pivots the bed, and it probably like goes with a thud as the thing like falls.
Oh yeah, they do that. I forgot they do that. That's quite handy.
She just like automatically picks up like the blanket and hands it to Zig. It fell on the floor from the bed.
Do you have any idea what you're looking for?
I show him the pad, the thing that I sent you. That.
It's got three. So it's got a couple of scans actually. It's got a obviously. So Stu, bless you. So Stu's scan obviously has dead and weird brain thing. Ligo has dead ? Weird brain thing. Zig has alive, no weird brain thing.
See.
Yeah.
See his.
Yes.
The body. Stu. Sorry. And mine. There's. I mean this stuff I sent you. There's something weird in the brain chemistry.
Okay.
Check us that it might be exposure to the Greys.
I mean,
I'll interact with them.
it's not something to do with the death things.
It could be. I don't want to assume anything, you know?
That's fair.
Isabel just looks at you and goes, well, hop in.
I step into the thing.
Like, do you do the honours and push the scan button or the
I
lobotomize
push
button?
the button.
Yeah, scans. Obviously comes up with like its assumptions based on biology. So androids, lots of question marks. Bunch of extra question marks based on limb numbers.
Yeah, fine.
And then yeah, exact same brain scan.
As me and
Yep.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's. Look, we're showing the same.
Oh, I was muted.
The whole time.
Okay.
You bitch.
I think Zig would say, and he said he was you were exposed to the Greys.
Yes.
I think Zig looks up at Lyco and kind of shrugs.
It's not an unreasonable conclusion. Well, we'll scan everyone just to be sure. Unless, yeah, well, we'll scan Cap in a bit. We can maybe scan Alice as well, just as another control, since she's only been in the ship for a very short amount of time. She should be the least.
You could go get her
likely
scan now.
to
Like she's poking around somewhere, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, just as she isn't there that second, obviously. Do you know where she is?
Fixing the shields. She has some important work.
Well, we can wait a little while.
I got one of the weapon systems online.
Oh,
That's good.
I hadn't actually checked the weapon systems. Of course, there are weapon systems.
Chakos is like, what do you think? We come all the way out here in a secret espionage mission with our guns?
No, that's it was a reasonable assumption. It just slipped my mind, you know.
Sure, no, it's Joe's. What system did you get up and running? Was it the laser or the rockets?
The lasers.
Damn.
Ah,
I can get the rockets up online, but then we won't have oxygen.
Okay. I like oxygen,
Hmm.
but she looks around everyone and goes, looks back at you, goes, you need to breathe, right? Looking at you, obviously weird.
At some point.
And now she goes, yeah, keep the oxygen. She kind of nods.
I also need to breathe, so
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of don't, but it's okay.
She goes, oh? She kind of looks at you.
Oh, sorry, androids do not breathe.
So yeah, like your dad said that. I'm just saying, and the Chakos is like, so if two of you could operate this ship, and if we get into trouble, the rocket launchers would be much more. They'd pack a bigger punch than the lasers. That's all I'm saying. And if you didn't need to breathe on the way back, that at least helps you against potential breathing borders. Assuming two people wanted to get this ship back to, air quotes, safety.
We need to keep some of the life support systems online for us. I'm still liable to freeze to death.
Kind of
There
nods.
is that.
Goes,
Well,
yeah.
my life bubble might be able to fix that too.
The problem is not for like continual days though. I think it's the problem, unless your magic's back crazy.
1 day per level, so 10 days.
10 days? Well, you might be able to make it. Yeah, I think that'd be fine. If you could, like, so long as you just didn't sleep, right?
Yeah, concentrate for 10 days.
Is it concentrate or is it like pop and
it's
done?
Not. Oh no, it's not.
So there's
It's
no
just
form of
plop it
like
on.
maintaining. Yeah, I was gonna say then. Yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose the point
to-
is that you're going to be floating in space maybe at some point in the future, and you don't want to die instantly. I guess.
Oh, 1 creature per level, so that's 10 people.
Nice.
4.
That's your
They
crazy
all
bubble.
have to be within 30 feet of each other, though.
Yeah, like you just need to limit yourself
That's
to where you
fine.
go.
That's fine.
Reasonable.
Great.
So yeah, like even if you just needed to get like emergency power back to the rockets, you could probably like rewire that mid fight and then have your rat survive with the bubble, right? Just have to hold your breath till you run back to the bubble for the warmth, right? So yeah, it is possible. But yeah, this is just like Shakos thinking out loud about the getting everybody back to some kind of like safe haven, you know? Being like, obviously the idea that the system isn't in the most life welcoming condition is actually good at helping you guys keep the advantage. She kind of nods to herself. She goes, suppose the more things that work, the better, though. We're getting the ship back.
Would be helpful not to have to worry about, system stability. It's not, if you guys are comfortable that you can operate it with a crew of 2 or 3, because I'm obviously aware Alice is quite capable. well, then that's an option, but we probably shouldn't be relying on not having life support. Let's try and get it up and running.
Well, that was one of the first things he fixed, so it's on just now. The problem is
Yeah,
that
sorry.
life support
keep
works. It's the
that up
fact that
running, I
yeah,
should say. Keep that up running.
yeah. The reason the rockets don't work is because he used all of their spare power conduits to work the life support, so it didn't like overload from the damage that their normal systems take. Because like running everything, you just need to get the ship to go, and then to jump it into drift is maybe going to blow up the ship. But now that they've rerouted all the things through like, you could probably call them non-essential systems, weapons, right? So yeah, it's definitely like everybody's a lot more confident that the ship will make it to where it's going. Not necessarily when, but it'll at least get there, which is good enough. Keeping Zig on board might get it there exactly when it was supposed to be there. We'll never know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's a sort of a wizard. So, one last thing I want to scan. Did you press the thing that makes the bed lie flat again?
Isabel boots the lever on the wall. It flips the bed back.
Thank you. And I will go and grab one of the corpses. Because I don't think we scanned one of them, did we?
Nope.
I'm gonna scan this guy.
Okay, so you heave it up onto the bed, and its torso snaps into
Ah, shit.
red crystal.
The zombies are crystallizing now too.
I think
Wonder
it's
if
like
that's
it's
because,
definitely one of the.
foam.
It's because it's definitely one of the ones that you were fighting on like the bridge, right? I'll give you enough recognizable visuals for that.
Maybe even the stuff that animates them is out. Then this happens. Maybe that stuff keeps their maybe the tissue. Maybe the tissue always turns to crystal, but the crystal is kept flexible by the stuff that animates them.
Isabella
Just
kind of
a
like
guess.
starts nodding, goes, maybe it dried up all the usable parts. Shakes her head a bit.
Like it's consumed them.
Anyone checked the foam?
I think everybody just looks to Zig.
That's an idea maybe for later.
Well, I like the shot of this, right? Because we're near the end anyway. So I like the idea of Zig saying, "Has anyone checked the foam?" and everyone looking, and it doing that kind of
God.
opening lines of like, a Man Who Sold the World, and then it like pans up to the door, the airlock where this is contained, and the big red foamy, like internal area of this clear cylinder, the containment cylinder, and we just see like what may have been a foot that looks more like a hand now, like press up against the glass, and we end the session there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what would you like to call it?
From here to infirmary.
I mean, type it up if it's a suggestion. Pop it in the chat. We'll have that as a potential. Yup.
That for those crazy kids out there who recognize that reference.
Any other suggestions, folks? Because we had obviously.
I wish Stu was called James.
We obviously had repairing the ship features. We had discovering weapon systems. We had life support. St. Stu's infirmary.
Doesn't sound quite as good.
My favourite one personally is inconclusive. Mostly because I just really like Isabel. Like, she gets a hard fucking deal these days. Um, mostly from Weird.
She started it.
Diagnostic Cup is good. Yup. Strong. Yup. Lots of tests done with it. Dead or alive. Yup.
Wanted. Dead or alive.
Right, let's. That's a bunch of names. Let's vote.
I left for Zora, yeah.
Vote away, people. Vote away.
I vote. Wow. Wow. It is a good name, I will give you that. Reluctantly.
And
I
I will.
concede.
And I will not vote.
I'll make my concession call now.
Yeah, that's good. Life support's good. I've got it.
If we had shit, we've not already used that one.
I don't think so.
No, we haven't.
No.
Mr. Xander ran a strong campaign that clearly resonated with voters.
Wow,
The
why
one.
is this not a... Weirdly, it's not accepting the formatting. That is annoying. Copy,
Do you want me to format it?
paste. No.
Yeah,
dear.
saying that.
Right, let me have a quick scan through the list of names that we've had. And does life support show up anywhere? No?
No, it just shows up there.
Yeah, because I think... No, I think we've been fairly varied with our names.
Waifu support.
Oh dear. No, they're not there yet, I don't think, right? Or are you talking about you and Shakos? Like,
No.
there's a lot of backup support, because I think it is really just the... It's almost like the X's ship at the moment, you know? With Shakos, who probably wouldn't have said no to a relationship with Lyko.
I mean, look,
Having Isabel and, you know, clearly the sexual tension between Isabel and Weird, you know? Yeah, it's...
cut with a warm spoon.
with a white hot blade. Much
It
like
was
associate
hot.
button. Right, goals. Let's have a look at those. Okay, so what was done, what was not done?
Anything. Nothing was done.
I think one's been done. But do you know which?
Well, we did investigate the connection. We just found that there wasn't really one.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely been Like, do you so
I don't
is
think
your
there has to
opinion?
be a connection.
So is your opinion then, right? Like the way to complete that goal is, have you ruled out it being a Barai thing?
I think he is now comfortable in seeing that this is clearly something that is happening to us on account of something we've been exposed to on this ship, which is common to those of us who were on that original boarding party. Although he's not absolutely certain, I think he's basically ruled out it being a Barai thing at this point. because
Yeah,
he's pretty
you'd probably want to scan the captain for that one, right? To be
You
completely
think I
certain.
should?
No, like I mean, like you probably
Okay.
want to,
Yeah.
just so that there. But I think you can.
I do, yes.
You can probably rule out Barai, I think, based on that so far.
You think I can put that one as completed?
Well, it's just that Weird isn't Barai yet.
Yeah, I think Lyco's quite confident that he's investigated and found that angle not
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah, so that can go
So
over.
I will.
Yep,
Boom!
perfect. Get rid of that.
Oh, that's not what I meant to delete. Sorry,
No, it's
I
fine.
need to think up a new one.
Yup.
For next session.
And any others? Because remember, you've got a general list as well.
Well, question mark. We did ask questions.
We did. Yeah. Should I move this reintegrate with crew up to the Zig doobly doo?
I mean,
or
it's up to you. Do you have something to replace it with a general goal? Or do you have anything more personal to pursue? Right. I'd also say, by the way, because nobody seems to be saying it, but you've got the Kevlar at least up and running, right?
It's true.
Right. So like, where does the salvage the Kevlar end? Where's the end point in your guys' eyes?
well, I think salvage, in my mind, the word salvage means usable.
So it is usable.
And I think the ship's definitely usable.
Yeah,
I'd
I
say
would
so.
say either usable or if it isn't, if we can't be
Um,
recovered, strip it. But since it clearly can be recovered, I think we could probably.
Well, the
count this
plan
as
was
sort
like
of
everybody
salvage.
wanted like to get the ship working, and it has been working. You've like
Yeah.
you've gutted the other ships to make it work. And obviously there's like whatever you need to do to get the Azure Flare to drift again.
Yeah. So
Um, so yeah, I'd say salvage. The Kevlari is done. Yeah. Somebody can move that over.
in terms of the crew corpses, intel isn't really secured. I don't think until we can sort of hand it over to Babak potentially, or if we feel like we have to go elsewhere, which I don't think we do at this point. But if we did, we're clearly a bit sus. Something is a bit weird about Babak's files, and also
Who's moving the salvage goal over?
who is
Got it. No, I don't actually. I'm not doing that.
Zeg.
I'm not doing it. I'll break it.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Such a brave crew we have. Our spreadsheet scares
You're
them.
welcome.
Perfect. There we go.
And someone would delete that.
Cool. Right, so we've got a bunch of spaces now, right? So obviously we've got like the general goals, secure the Kevlari and tele stuff. You still haven't really made like it's the taking it to relative safety. You need to kind of like narrow that down, I think, don't you? Like where you think your relative safety is. And I think obviously Lyco's suggestion was like the diaspora. Right? You were leaning towards the diaspora to like maybe go hide at like Baskerville again.
Possibly. That was somewhere I was thinking of.
You did mention that at least last session, I think.
But once we've sort of puzzled things out a bit more, that might change. I don't want to like commit as to a particular course of action just yet.
You also want to get this ship in like some kind of like place to actually, you know, get it fixed properly. Like obviously patch jobs aside, you want to get this in the Azure Flare working properly.
Also, in the more immediate, like we want to, we want to check in with the cap right before we do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
As we know, he's narratively excused for the moment until
Yes, he is. He's
his return.
potently excused by the narrative.
The Demogesh.
That's the Mogish.
So is there anything else? Like, so we've got reintegrate with the crew. What's happening with that, Zig?
I mean, what I want to do with it may as well. I don't know if I should move it up to there, obviously, but
It really depends on how you want to pursue it, because obviously keeping general goals open is fine, but can anybody else work on that with you?
I mean, potentially.
So then, yeah, it's valid for general.
Yeah, I definitely see. My initial goal was to get like just everyone in the same room, but that might not happen. So I might have to go individually with it. We'll see.
I mean, you have most people in a room, and obviously if you get Alice for the scan, right? The only people you're missing are Queen, CC, Query, Finn, and Captain at the moment, but obviously we should in theory get Captain back next time.
Yeah.
All going well. Yeah.
Let us hope.
So what's the plan? Are we gonna make work on that, or is it just gonna like go by the wayside?
Definitely. Next session's gonna be definitely complete anyway.
Okay. I see you've put something in your
Regardless if people are like all in the same place or not, you have to like do it individually. That's fine because it is kind of pressing on Zig's.
Yeah, it's also
brain.
like, you know, what the hell happened to you is probably something that maybe Weird will have time to ask at some point, you know? How do you show up from nowhere, you know? Isn't just a plot device, folks at home, you know?
There are reasons.
But yeah, you've got a personal goal you
Yeah,
just
that's
filled
right.
in now? Talk me through it.
Get to vault, get egg, be happy-ish.
Okay,
The happy-ish part is optional.
okay. Interesting. Interesting. I don't even know if I can talk about that. Right. Okay, get to vault, get egg, be happy-ish. Sure?
Mm.
Yeah.
It might change depending on
Yeah.
might be modified depending on what some people have to say. But we'll see.
Right, we've got a blank goal space, guys. What's the thoughts? What we're chucking in there for the immediate future?
That's a good question.
what have you still got to resolve? What is the next immediate step for everybody, right? Ignoring the goals lists here, like what is the next important thing to do?
So meta-wise, it's got to be deal with this problem.
Yeah, like that's just a thing that's been ongoing because people put legs into a pile of red foam and then sealed it in a container.
To see what would happen, yes.
Yeah. So obviously things were going to happen with that. Beyond that, though, right, ignoring foam, right, foam's obviously going to be a nice cliffhanger thing, but it's probably fix the Azure Flare, which is already a goal, right? Because the only other thing that's currently a direct liability is the fact that that ship's drift's engine's fucked. Because somebody decided to take a wander through time and space and the walls of the ship. That someone may in fact have been a double act. It may have been weird and zig. So
Wow.
there's that, right?
We're just adding colour to the universe.
Sure, yeah. I think also that, like from my memory, I think Lyko had interest in maybe Shakos and the Queen being involved in some form of interaction at some point.
Wanted to. I felt like they should meet because it might be helpful for her to actually interact with someone of her kind. You know, considering she is trying to be the queen of them.
Yeah, you know, actually having a subject would be something. Yeah, singular. Anything else then, like goal related, that can be thrown into the general goals? Same for you, Lyko, with your personal.
Yeah, I am coming up blank right at this particular
I
second.
suppose the most immediate personal stuff is your own biology, or like I guess Shakos, right? Or Zig, right? Like those are like the most immediate personal things I can think of. For yourself, or even just something to do with Babak, ultimately, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Because like,
Obviously, Babak will have to be confronted at some point.
and he has a general goal at the moment to determine how involved or complicit he was. So that is like in your kind of line of sight. So what would
Yeah, which I think, will involve like literally have to.
I think we
speak
both know
to-
that if Zora does come back to you and talks to you about Demogesh, you think your Demogesh stuff will be moved up most likely in Lyko's mind.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But that's obviously, we can checkpoint that for when that's likely to happen, because we know that's unlikely to come up instantly, because immediately things would be more important, like, wait, so Demogesh is a secondary problem compared to Babak right now, and the current situation, so yeah.
It's not even that I see Babak as the problem, just as that I'm very uncertain of him at the moment.
Yeah, well, he's the focal point, is what I mean, really, for the moment. MD, any other thoughts on the goals at the moment? Like, Lyko has a blank personal goal, we've got a blank general goal. MD? Anything to, like, suggest? I mean, we do have a whole ideas list there, if anything seems transmutable.
Yeah.
Weird? Anything?
Nothing's immediately spring to mind.
It's okay, yeah. What we can do is we can also like check in with Zora if we get Zora back next time, and I'll let you catch Zora up on what happened, assuming Nico doesn't watch it, and then we'll see if he has any thoughts on potential avenues to pursue. Then he can deal with his own drama, which happened parallel to this.
Of course.
Good, I get to prepare 8 hours of dialogue now, I guess.
Yahoo!
For our wonderful captain. Good, okay, well we can do wrap up chat. I think that's enough for goals, because I don't think we're coming out with anything for Lyko's personal
No,
or
I'm
general.
afraid I'm quite.
Okay, so wrap up chat time. Do you want to just start us off, Zig?
Yeah, that was actually really fun. It was really interesting. Sitting, scratching head over things that you just don't understand. Obviously loved the end. I had never even considered that the foam would bite us in the ass at all, ever.
Perhaps. We should.
Nah, not even. Didn't even like no. And actually, I completely forgot about it until it was mentioned halfway through.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I just needed to
Yeah, I
remember where it
completely
was.
forgot about it.
It was the week before I'd forgot where it had been put. Because I knew it had been in the cargo bay and I knew it was moved. I'm like, I don't remember where that went. Hence why I
Yeah.
drew it on the map. I'm like, oh good, it is on the map. The red circles. Yup. And like Zora rolled like a 2 or a 3 on his computer roll to like key the door codes to his wrist. So yeah. Like
So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah.
It was really nice seeing that we actually have an engineering team.
Yeah, right. Like
It's almost like this is like an actual functional crew.
Almost.
almost,
Oh.
yeah.
Um,
Not within the engineering team. There's very little function within the engineering team. Like what they do as their job is fine, but like the interpersonal stuff, oof,
I don't know.
yeah, we don't need to worry about that. That's future problems.
that's what Zig's best at. Future problems.
I think he creates future problems
Mhm.
and tries to solve the past ones too often. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I am both interested and nervous to see what Isabel's done with the warp.
I mean, you know, like you've been through this before, right? Like
Yeah, it felt very
he's-
deja vu.
yeah, he's crashed in verses, right? Like, he's
Deja
all
vu all over again.
he's walked away from that. So,
Yeah, we'll be fine.
and she did say that you'd at least go in and out of drift. She was willing to guarantee that
Possibly
much.
just in and out,
Um,
you know, in a loop.
Or just
I'm
like
just hoping this isn't going to be another like when we
yeah,
get dropped out of drift.
Just depends what
situation.
ship you're on.
That's my fear. Yeah.
doesn't it? Like if you're not on this ship, that is unlikely to happen.
So we'll see. I'm looking forward to the next one and
Mhm. That'd be good.
seeing where things go.
And
And actually, all of Lyco's stuff with also we flirty stuff was really lovely.
mostly Shakos's like really bad flirting attempts. You mean?
Yeah.
With the,
I really enjoyed it. It was nice.
it's like weird being actively bad at that when like RPing. It's a weird thing to RP. Fun but weird. By the way, speaking of weird,
Weird.
hello.
That's weird. Hello. That was fun, wasn't it?
I thought so. I quite enjoyed it.
I've been enjoying winding up Alice.
Do you mean Isabel? Because you keep calling her Alice.
Yeah, Isabel. Sorry, I know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Like I immediately go to say Alice because I don't know. Alice is just the go-to name, right?
Yes,
But it is always Isabel. Isabel.
I'm
You're-
probably winding up Alice too.
I mean, I think Alice is winding herself up, right?
Yeah.
That's always been her problem. Nice to have Alice on camera again. I always like Alice's screen time.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah, enjoying annoying Isabel.
Mhm.
I think it's making a fun little juxtaposition between that and the serious investigation that's going on.
Yeah, like it cuts between like the medical drama happening upstairs and her downstairs in the kitchen with this cup.
Yeah.
It's aye.
It's nice after all those times of yeah.
Nice after all those times of what that you cut out, buddy.
Her criticizing us
Ah,
and
yes.
lording it over us. So,
And to be fair though, she probably still is just internally, right? Because
yeah, but
she's still pretty competent at everything she's done, except the dragon fight, but nobody was competent at that. So
I survived that.
yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I had fully understood the sniping rules, we probably would have won. So that's kind of on me
It's all his fault.
because it was pretty close to death at the end, if I recall, and like I had shot considerably less than I actually.
I was gonna
could
say,
have
yeah,
at
like
that
I think
range.
had the average damage gone up, the fight wouldn't have been as long. But yeah,
It's
like
yeah.
that's just what
Seems
happens
pretty-
sometimes,
yeah.
right? It is like at any point she could have teleported away, right? That was within her capabilities. So it's just she was being uncharacteristically, annoyingly noble, as she discovered. You know, these things happen.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anything else, buddy?
No, I think that's all good for me.
Lego.
Lyco. Yeah. So, no. Again, it was a sort of it was definitely a kind of more light-hearted one in places.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a serious mystery sort of unfolding, but there was a bit more.
Yeah, a bit of
There's
levity.
a bit more
Yeah.
of a sort of bantery flavor,
Mhm.
is how I would put it. I think.
We do have them
And obviously
sporadically
that's
throughout
always fun.
the show, which are
We
like,
do, and
good.
we always have little bits of it, really, even in the more serious sessions. But that was like, I think that was obviously we were in a bit of a position of not being able to get someone rather important or captain.
Luckily, that is
in-
quite nicely like self-contained though as well, so that can be
Yeah.
Mm.
you know.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
fortunate.
yeah.
So we were, I think we were obviously kind of restricted in how much we could advance the plot.
The good thing is,
Not that
like
we
you've made a massive
generally
advancement,
hurtled
right?
Through things.
I was going to say the biggest advancement is you've got the ship up and running, right? That was just going to be things that would have been time-consuming in the next session anyway, had it not happened.
Yeah, no, that is fair. That is a fair. So it probably is just like,
So like really, this session gained you a ship, which is pretty good, I'd say.
you know, I think we'd have got there either way. But having said that, yeah, like it gets that out the road, sort of, and you know, next week we come back and we can advance.
Well, when the
maybe
captain
a
comes
bit
back looking
more.
like he's seen a ghost, right? And he's like, "Oh, cool, we got the ship up and running." He goes, "Okay, good news, positive things, good." You know, and he can debrief you on whatever the hell has happened. So.
So yeah,
Hopefully
I'd
good
love
things
for
and
that.
positive
I'd love
news.
for that.
Mhm.
And obviously, yeah, just getting to have some silly little character interactions that were a little bit jokey.
Mm.
I definitely feel like, you know, it's like Aiko is really kind of, yeah, you know, he is definitely a sort of bantery, jokey kind of guy. He can be a little flirty, but he's definitely kind of a bit more of a sort of self-contained kind of person.
Mhm.
And I think like there is sort of an underlying awkwardness there where he's aware that, you know, maybe Shakos is a bit sweet on him. I'm not saying that Lyco isn't attracted to her or anything, because you know they definitely seem to sort of be quite flirty, but like it's just not really
Yeah.
there. You know, it's not. That's just not something he does since he sort of woke up in a morgue drawer. He just kind of gave up that aspect of life, and so it's a little bit. There's a little bit of awkwardness, and I think part of it is because he's sort of determined to, on some level, like just not grin and bear it, because he does sort of, you know, he does have, you know, a joke with her and what have you. But like, there's definitely an aspect of like he's kind of a bit straight faced through a lot of it, and maybe not quite going all in, because he doesn't necessarily want to give the wrong impression. So there's a nice little bit of like soap opera awkwardness there.
It's good. I quite like it. Like I like the banter.
It's
a good back
it
and
was
forth
good.
because you've got like obviously there's this, you know, these are two people that have been through like being buddy cops for a bit, and obviously one person could maybe see more to it, and obviously you're like, what more is there though, right? In the sense of like, do Barai have kids, right? Like obviously this isn't necessarily what Shakos is thinking, but like it's a thing that
Yeah.
must have crossed other Barai's minds, right?
Yeah. And I think the answer is like probably not, right? Because
Yeah, my gut is to say
speaking,
probably not.
when it comes to like the Barai, generally speaking, are they undead or alive? Is the answer is basically which one's worse?
Yeah.
So probably they don't get that nice little thing where you can pass on your genes and have a family. That seems like they wouldn't have that. And it might even be dangerous to try, for all we know. You know, for fucking Wolverine claws. Not Wolverine. But yeah, like, there's a bit of tension there. And obviously, we had similar stuff going on with Weird's slightly strained interaction with Alice, and his deliberate wideness, I would say, with Isabel.
His largeness. He has a large wide character now.
his breadth,
Large.
depth. But Zeg was sort of more. I think Callum, you were kind of more in like a space of like playing the sort of the incredulous sort of it's like almost the audience avatar. You were the one coming and going, "What the fuck are these people talking about this session?" Because
Mhm.
obviously you've been away in time and space. So I think that's maybe something that would be interesting going forward. Is perhaps that if something is happening that has lasting effects,
Mhm.
then potentially I have to assume we've got 3 members of the party that are affected. Maybe not, maybe Cap wasn't, but we certainly get 2, and probably the
Yeah.
3rd. And then we've got you that clearly isn't. So that's interesting.
Something else you
I'm
might want to think
intrigued.
about as well, something I wasn't going to mention during the session in case you did. Medbay could have a look at Zig's blood while he's here.
Oh shit, that's true.
That's a good point. I was gonna.
On the other hand, do you want to do that in this horrible infected environment?
Right.
I have a life
Potentially
bubble. It's fine.
Life bubble is now your solution to everything.
We'll just put the ship in a life bubble, we'll get it back to civilization, it'll be fine.
Why don't you put the
I
whole
could-
world in a bottle?
How big's the ship? Hold on.
The ship's like, I mean,
145. Give me a small.
this would be amazing if you
Because-
could life bubble the ship, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, range medium 100 foot plus 10 feet per level.
I mean, how many levels of it do you have?
So
So
it's 200 foot.
cool. Well,
Bubble.
there you go.
Is that the range you can cast it at, or the size of the bubble can be?
Oh, that might be.
I was gonna say, because
Range. Oh, no,
So-
yeah, no, that's right. That's my range I can
Yeah.
cast.
I was gonna say,
Like I'm that far away from people.
but like
and
realistically,
I
right?
have to target a creature. I can't target the thing.
Yeah, but like if you
But
target
I can
people,
target everyone in the thing.
yeah, like I think
think,
there's reasonable to assume that you could life bubble everybody in a ship, yeah,
Yeah.
and they
Just
could
not
wander around the ship.
Gosh.
But yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to mention just after the fact because I didn't want to influence the session in play.
Well, that actually entirely slipped my mind also. So
That was something that was Acatonian problems way back when. Remember the go check your blood results, buddy? There's
Yeah.
something weird about it. Yeah.
I was going to bring it up either if we did it before, but I'm more happy to do it in game than in
Mm.
pretend land.
I think maybe you were just worried about other stuff, right? Quite aptly. Um,
I mean, fairly, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, definitely interesting. I'm excited for next session. Hopefully we'll get Cat back and we'll have some whatever the hell he was up to stuff. And
Ooh.
yeah, I assume you were wrapped up there, Lyko.
I am. Yes, I think that those are my thoughts, and
Excellent.
I will bid y'all good night.
Indeed, goodbye everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.